Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Zero to Hero podcast. I am your host, Denny Dumas. This was a fun episode. I think fun is the right word. We had our good friend Liam Rines back on the show, mostly because the first one was so entertaining, and I hadn't seen him in a while, so it was a good excuse to catch up. We share some whiskey. There's a lot of stories that go back and forth. Some about real estate. We get into a little more about depression and his experience with it. It was a really fun, entertaining episode, and I think you're gonna find some value in it as well. Let us know what you think. I hope you enjoy. Such a pleasure. That's really, I was thinking about the right thing to say when I saw you, Liam, and pleasure was the only word that came to mind.
Well, Denny, you wouldn't be the first person to say that. Pleasure comes to a few people's mind when it comes to me. No, I'm kidding. Okay. But thank you. I appreciate that.
That's what you're... No, that's... Okay. It's a pleasure working with you.
Now that is a mutual feeling, in fact.
We have never done a deal together.
Denny, we don't have to. We do our deals up here.
I feel like we have a pretty similar style.
That doesn't mean anything. By the way, let me just stop and say, I don't even know what that means. Okay, yeah, we do have a similar working style in that I believe that you and I, we work for our clients, for sure. We have a strong understanding of the professionalism involved, but we work for a win-win. And
totally.
And you know, I like it, of course, when my client wins, whether he's a seller or a buyer. But it's also important to me to have a win on the other side. And I think that that's where you and I are a lot alike, you know.
I just like seeing people smile. Makes me happy when clients are happy.
Very, very much so. Yeah. For some folks, when it's their first transaction, like first-time home buyers, that's pretty special. Or getting somebody out of a sticky situation. You know, divorces aren't always fun to be doing, but you know there can be some smiles involved in that too when both parties get to walk away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on with you right now? Give me a quick little update. Put this a little bit closer to your face.
Oh, okay.
You can move it.
Here we go.
There you go.
Slide right in there. Update. What's new with me? Just plugging away. I finished my 100 days.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, that was good. Cheers.
I see we're drinking again.
Yep, slancha. Cheers, gentlemen.
Slancha. I learned how to say that now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually quite comfortable saying it.
I was looking forward to some of that rum from Barbados.
Ooh.
I thought that...
that's a special one. I'm saving that one for a little while.
Okay. Not insulted. Pretty insulted.
Liam, you gotta understand how much of a pleasure it is to be in your presence.
I hear that a lot.
And the example of that is you are now the third person that has come on the podcast for the second time. That's it. We've done 53 episodes. You're only the third person that has come back.
Does that say something about me? About you? or
I was thinking it would say you. I don't know.
I take that as a huge compliment. Thank you for having me back. The first one was quite the experience for me.
It was fun.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
We covered a lot of ground, and I hope we didn't scare too many new young entrepreneurs away from moving forward.
I hope we gave them a sense of reality.
Reality, yeah.
I'm definitely not going to be that guy that says it's all fucking rainbows and flowers. It's not.
It really isn't.
Even when you're doing well, it's not.
Well, the thing that you have to remember is that you never make it. There's no it. There's no. The finish line is when you're dead. Like that's it. There's no okay, great. I'm here. I've arrived. There is no arrival. It's you need to keep moving forward, and you have to continually swim. Uh, that is the truth.
Is that a daunting thing that you think about often? Because one of the, like, for me, of course, at this point now, we are attempting to scale business, meaning like in most circumstances, real estate agents are the business. Liam Rines is the business. There's no, if you went away for 3 weeks, you don't do any deals for 3 weeks kind of thing, right? Whereas is that something you consciously think about? Like, I am going to be doing this every day until I die. There's nothing that I can take a step back from unless you scale and have people working with you. But that's a whole different ballgame.
Like that actually probably would have been the easier route to go for me personally, because I mean, I have met so many great people in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And partnerships have been presented to me, and you know, I've kind of turned most of them down. But is it daunting to me? No. I mean, like I can train, you know, and I'm doing some training. So the idea that I'm going to be on my own, I don't necessarily have to be on my own. Right now, I choose to be on my own.
Why is that?
Because in some ways, it's almost more difficult to teach, and sometimes the energy that it takes to do that teaching kind of draws you away from whatever it is you're doing. It's like giving somebody a code to bring up your email. Okay, so it takes the amount of time that it takes for me to teach a password or a code for my email is certainly a lot less, or certainly a lot more time than it's going to take me to just do it myself. So it comes down to an energy thing. It's just easier for me to do it myself at the moment. And also because I have, I'm a single guy. I'm not married, no kids, no anything. So I have the time to do these things for myself. There's nothing pressing or pulling me away from it. I'm sure that when I become a little less work obsessed and more family oriented or whatever, then yeah, it'll be more important to me to be able to take some time, right?
Have you thought that far ahead? Not saying that a family is far ahead for you, but more just like, have you thought past the idea of working alone?
A little bit more so now.
Yeah.
More. Yeah. I mean, approaching 40, which was the reason I've been doing a lot of things.
You look like you're 29.
Oh, well, thank you.
Especially after that 100 days, you're looking really good.
Thanks.
Again, man. It's a pleasure to be around you.
Flattery will get you everywhere. Yeah, no, looking into the future, and then like I've also met some people recently in the industry that I'm just like, man, I do not want to end up like you. That is kind of driving me to go to look a little bit more into backing off from all the firsthand stuff, maybe bringing on a few folks, and then just kind of stepping back and focusing more on the marketing and branding aspect of creating something. And that can, like that's its own thing. That's its own startup. And there's a lot of fun to be had in that too. I mean, right now I'm still having fun doing what it is I'm doing, and but yeah, I could see it kind of in the future, maybe. Yeah, the next 5 years, sure.
Can we talk a little bit about what's happening right now in the real estate world? Because it is, no one really knows.
no one really knows that the market has shifted, and
Just what the next 6 months is going to hold. I think there's a lot of outside factors that can affect whether we have a really slow spring, which it's feeling like it's going to be a little bit of a slow spring. And that typically means the fall is going to be very slow. But at the same time, it feels like a lot of agents are thinking doom and gloom right now.
Well, I mean, have you seen the GVRD numbers right now?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were like at our highest, we were like 15,000, and last time I checked, like 14,500 or something like that.
Yeah.
I expect to see.
So Liam's talking about number of realtors. So at the peak, like maybe, I don't know, it's probably like late 2017, early 2018.
Thank you,
middle of 2018.
Thank you, HGTV.
Yeah.
All that shit. Great.
There's over 15,000 realtors in Greater Vancouver, and it's slowly dropping.
Yeah, which is great. I think. Like if you don't have the fortitude to work for your listings and work for the business that you're bringing in, it's been nice in the last 3 years, I'm sure, even though I took a tremendous amount of time off. Anything that you listed, you would have multiple offers on. I mean, is that fair to say? Any listing you took in the last 2 years?
Well, not 2018, but 2016, 2017, I'd say 80% of listings got multiples. And that was insanity.
Yeah. I'm a pretty systems oriented guy, and I think that a lot of systems were getting thrown out the window just because people were desperate to make those purchases. And like you said, we've had all these outside factors, both federal, provincial, and I'm going to say municipal as well, that have kind of come into play and scared the shit out of people making a buy, or taking them out of purchasing in the first place. Media coverage on this stuff has been hilarious as well. On a provincial level, I think, David Eby getting involved has been great in the money laundering aspect of things. Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting that Eby is a lawyer and they're going after, car dealerships and realtors and real estate companies. And yet for most of these transactions that take place, you don't need a realtor. You need a lawyer. And I don't think I've seen David Eby go after any lawyers for any of these transactions. I mean, that's just me. But that's one of the largest outside factors that are affecting everything. It's created a tremendous amount of insecurity in the market. So yeah, I see buyers kind of standing off. Those buyers that can even make the purchase, since we've had these stress tests come into play as well. Those buyers that can make the purchase they're affected by outside influences such as those which I've stated.
What are your thoughts on the taxes that have come into play and how they've been rolled out? So I'm talking about foreign buyer tax, speculation tax, vacancy tax.
Which time for the foreign buyers tax? The time they first rolled it out, or the second time they rolled it out at a higher number?
2016, first time.
Yeah.
It was just so ridiculous. Like, it was comical. Well, I heard the announcement and I was like, this has to be an April Fool's joke. Like, this is a gong show. Do you know what happened?
No, tell me.
2016. I can't remember the exact day of the week. It was probably like a Tuesday. It gets announced starting Monday. So like they give us 5 days notice or something like that. Starting Monday, there will be a 15% tax on anyone who is not a Canadian resident or Canadian citizen. Permanent resident or Canadian citizen. Starting Monday. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter if you've signed a deal 3 months ago that completes next week. You will also be subject to the 15% tax.
That was the shitty part about that, is that they made it retroactive.
Yeah.
So you have shaken hands on a deal and the buyer believes that this is how much they owe at the end of it.
But deposits are down. Like, this is a firm and binding legal contract. There's a deposit in place.
Apparently not firm and binding.
I know.
I don't know how that happened.
Apparently, yeah.
I know that a very good friend of mine who is a hell of a patriot, a hell of a Canadian, a hell of a patriot. This guy did 2 tours in Afghanistan. I'm not going to say his name. This is someone that I look up to immensely. He wrote an article where he just said he's embarrassed. He's embarrassed that the Canadian government would do this retroactively and affect purchases that were already a firm and binding.
But this is at a provincial level.
Mm-hmm.
This was just Greater Vancouver. It wasn't even provincial.
That's right. And then they rolled it out later, and it's like Kelowna and people from Calgary that bought a vacation home in Kelowna are going to have to pay empty homes tax.
Well, that was this is the speculation tax. It's so silly.
Yeah. These are knee-jerk reactions by a government that doesn't choose to consult with professionals that are working in the field. And that's
like, it seemed, from someone who's very involved in real estate, you as well, it seemed like it was just like a spur of the moment thing. Foreign buyer tax. I think that's a great idea. We're going to roll it out tomorrow. No research. And I think a lot of the public doesn't really understand how it was rolled out.
No,
right?
I mean,
obviously,
I think that
we had to deal with it.
If you pulled a guy off the street and said, hey, so you're American and your kid is going to school here and you have the means to make a purchase here. You made that purchase, but you made your purchase in July. And your kid is moving here to go to school. And your kid is moving in. He takes possession. Your kid's moving in September. Just a heads up. I need to collect 15%. 15%.
On top of PTT, too.
Oh, yeah. So we got property transfer tax. It's crazy. You know, I remember actually, here's a funny story. I'm not sure if you're going to keep this in, but so when this tax got rolled out, it was August long, or it was in August of 20. I think I can't
remember if it was like the last week of July or something. And I think that's right. I think it was the last week of July, and it came into effect the Tuesday after the August long weekend or something.
So
like that.
I was selling a property for very good friends of mine in Glenwood and Poco.
Mm-hmm.
Great house, really great house. But this new coming tax had been like rumored, and it just gets rolled out. I have the open house like during the long weekend that month, and then this 15% foreign ownership tax gets rolled in. I had 3 groups of people come to this open house. 3 groups. That's it. I mean, it was dead, and things were, pretty busy at that time. So it was dead. And, so I had offers come, like a set time for offers. So I didn't know if I was going to get anything. But I told everybody, I'm like, look, I'm giving everyone one shot to come by and view the property one last time before offers come into play. So if you wanted to get a second viewing of this is the time to do it. But because it's been so busy, I mean, three groups is pretty busy. Wink. I want to get everybody kind of through or give them an opportunity to. So these are the times that I'm having people come through. What time between those times can you come? And I gave everybody like the same time. I'm like, so all I have left is like between 1 and 2. So can you come sometime? Yeah, for sure. And then offers were, of course, later after that. So I had these 3 groups, the only 3 groups that came the entire time, come through at the exact same time. So, I mean, there was a bit of FOMO going on there, and I ended up getting all 3 of these groups to put an offer in that night. But if I hadn't done that, we would have been totally screwed. As it turns out, we ended up selling the house, and they bought a beautiful property in the Okanagan for the price of this house in Glenwood in Poco. or they have a like laneway house or a carriage home that they Airbnb. So they bought this house, like they're free and clear. The Airbnb, because they're like a 6-minute bike ride from one of several wineries in the area. The Airbnb just pays for everything. Yeah.
That's the life right there, Liam.
So what are we doing here? The fuck am I doing here?
Did you have to move any completions?
No.
I had to move one. And I know it was like absolute mayhem with notaries and lawyers.
I felt bad for all of my lawyers.
Because it was 5 days, Carl. And usually a legal fee transferring title is like $1,000. They were charging like $4,000 to $5,000. You'd call, literally, I had one deal that was someone from Asia who was purchasing a property here. At the time, it was my biggest deal in my career. This is in 2016. I'm like, I am not fucking losing this deal.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what the deposit is.
I need that
I'm
notch.
not losing this thing.
Give me that fucking notch.
Yeah. But at the same time, luxury property in Burnaby.
Okay. Yep.
Who's the market for that?
Yeah.
Exactly. So if we lose this deal...
You mean the Irish?
Yeah, exactly.
They're huge in Burnaby.
Yeah. It's those white guys with red hair. Yeah.
Big in Burnaby.
If we lose this deal, likely market value goes down like $300,000-$400,000 overnight.
Yeah, I would say.
So we have to relist this thing, and it's not going to get anywhere near where it was. So it was like frantic. It was like, lawyer. Yeah, we're going to charge $5,000. We can do it, but we'll charge $5,000. And at that point, the seller's just like, let's just do the
Who cares?
thing. Yeah, we don't care.
Yeah.
And so luckily it completed. But I knew agents that had like multiple deals collapse, meaning like subject removal done, deposit in place. Buyers are just like, screw you, I'm out of here.
Yeah. So, I'm sure that there was an awful lot of deposits lost during that, or like at least a tremendous amount of like legal battles for those deposits.
What I was really disappointed about with the provincial government was that they didn't think about the trickle down effect, right? So at that time, if they had consulted any people that actually worked in the industry, they would have understood that the market was so crazy that people were purchasing before they sold.
Yeah.
They knew their house was going to sell in 5 to 7 days. Everyone did. So let's say Joe and Susan, they've lived in their house for 45 years. They are downsizing. They've purchased a condo. They've put their deposit in. It's a firm deal. Then they list their house. Someone purchases it. They're not a Canadian citizen. Now this fucking 15% tax comes in. Buyer X doesn't want to pay 15%, so they walk away from the deal. Now Joe and Susan are getting sued by the person that they purchased from because they're not able to complete because they can't sell their house. So that was what I was most upset about. Do I care that I have to scramble for 5 days? No, I can deal with it. If I lose one deal, I'm not that concerned. But the trickle down effect of like that type of person who whole life savings is based on this transaction that they're going through.
Yeah, they've been saving up their entire lives.
I think they really screwed up there.
Saving up their entire life.
There was a ton of agents that I talked to that had clients in that situation that were just screwed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The thing that bothered me the most is it's my job. Like I love it when one of my clients at the end of the transaction goes, here's your money. The fuck did you do for it? Right? Because I love making sure that it's so seamless. They feel like we didn't do anything at all. That's my favorite. I know I've done a really, really good job when they're a little bit pissed off about what they're paying me because it means that they have no idea about any of the rest of it. Now, during this particular time, when this was instated as quickly as it was, and there was no real time for us to give anyone a heads up, it created an awful lot of stress. On a lot of people. And as you know, as realtors, as these our clients' agents. It's our job to make it as seamless as possible. Well, it was almost impossible to make it seamless and easy a transaction. When this comes into play and the amount of sleepless nights I'm sure that a lot of my clients had because of it, that's what's unforgivable to me. And that's the thing that pissed me off the most, is that I couldn't protect them from this. This wasn't something that I had already foreseen and I had already had time to give them a heads up about, So that's the thing that pissed me off.
So one of my biggest pet peeves is you need to understand that we are dealing in residential transactions. Often this is the biggest purchase sale of a person's life, biggest investment of their life. We need to understand that it's a highly emotional and stressful time for these people. There's information that can be sorted out in the background between a mortgage person and a realtor or whoever that is just going to piss off and stress out the client that they don't need to worry about. I remember one transaction particularly, I can't remember the exact details, but it was like a mortgage person was missing one document and they called the client and said, we don't have this document, we can't fund the deal. It was like 4 days before completion. And so they call me literally freaking out and swearing. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I've literally no clue what you're talking about. And so I call the mortgage person and they're like, oh, there was like a missing signature on this. Like
they
we
put
need
an
the
initial
signature
where the signature should have been.
And I was like, why didn't you fucking call me? Why are you calling this person who you know it's a stressful, emotional time for? Call me. My job is to put out the fires. I'll handle it. And they don't even need to know about it. That is my biggest pet peeve. And I verbally abuse these people, not clients, mortgage people who don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
Or don't understand that this is an emotional time for people. These things can be sorted out without pissing off a client. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That's what annoys me the most.
Like I said, I love it when they're like, what'd you do? Because there's so much 11th hour bullshit that's happening behind the scenes. Yeah, they don't know about. And of course, if I need to bring it to their attention, then that's great. Oftentimes I don't. And then we'll all be hanging out a little bit after. I'm like, so guess what? You're never going to believe this is how close this came, or this is what happened, or whatever. And they're like, are you kidding? Yeah. So, back to the tax thing. That's what drove me nuts. Is because you're just like me. So one of the reasons why we enjoy each other's company so much is that I like to keep it as smooth as possible, and then so do you. So when they rolled that out, it was terrifying. It was terrifying to my sellers who had just listed, and they're like, "Are we way off now?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Well, we're gonna have to see." This is the first time in my career that a 15% tax has been rolled out in about a week.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is we had one. We had a listing, East Burnaby. I remember this so specifically. House in East Burnaby listed at 1299. A house across the street had just sold for 135. Really similar. We had listed that Monday. The tax gets announced on Tuesday, Wednesday. Immediately a call goes to the seller like we should probably take it off the market and wait a month or two and see how this plays out. And they're like, no, we'd like to go ahead. So whatever. We have open houses. We look at offers the next Monday. We got one offer. The offer's for 125. So $100,000 less than what the next door neighbor had just sold for. And I show this offer to the clients and I remember the conversation so vividly. I'm like, I don't think you should take this. It's subject free. It's 125. I think we should wait. And they're like, well, what's going to happen if we wait? And my exact response was like, I've never seen this before. No one's ever seen this before. Is it going to be like a 1 month blip, 6 month blip, 3 year blip? I don't know. If it was my property, I would take it off the market, wait 3 months and see what happens.
And these are the risks involved in doing it.
Exactly. But they're like, we want to downsize. Subject free. We sign it. It's done.
Yeah.
and they took it. So they lost. I have one client who lost $100,000 overnight because of that tax.
Now, that being said, do you think they made the right decision?
They would have had to wait so looking at it, if they waited 9 months, so this was in August of 2016, if they waited till April, May of 2017, it's like 9 months, they probably would have made that 100K back.
Okay.
But if they sold today, it would be lower than 125. It'd be under 1.2 probably for that property. So like, again, perspective is very important in real estate. We get
facts,
especially in Greater Vancouver, we just throw around these big numbers like they're nothing. But it really is just like, this is what the market is demanding. Is a stock worth $1 or $100? It's what the market decides the stock is worth, right?
Yeah, I being a Kamloops boy, still in my heart. Yeah, we throw around these numbers. Yeah, I say 500. I say 1.5. I say on my stupid, on my stupid,
right there.
On my stupid open house videos. You know, I'm talking about a property that's worth $1,550,000, and I'm like 1.5-ish.
Yeah,
you know, like we throw around ish, and we throw around these numbers, and like it's.
That's the funny thing for me is that
it's a lot.
The numbers are getting so big in Greater Vancouver that we're lowering them to 1.5. What does that mean?
Yeah.
$1,500,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. 1.5.
Yeah.
Not even like 1.5.
Yeah.
1.5.
Yeah.
1.5-ish.
Everyone just gets it.
1.5-ish means 1.55, but maybe like a little bit below. It's disgusting. The reason that I say it's so disgusting is because, number one, I will be selling my family home in Kamloops. The only home I've ever known, I grew up in.
Really?
This is fucking heartbreaking. It is. But it's time for mom and dad to downsize. And so that, you know, like I know what the value that this home that I grew up in has to me personally. And it's immense. But the numbers in Kamloops are certainly not what they are here. For example, driving around this neighborhood, Queen's Park, I like it. Would I live here? Yes. I certainly would. What are the starting prices around this neighborhood? 1.5-ish. Right? So, like, looking at those numbers, and I'm like, well, what is that for a down payment? Oh my God, the down payment is probably more than my beloved family home is in Kamloops that I grew up in, that has had so many amazing memories for me and my friends and everything. Yeah, we throw around these numbers, and they are immense here.
When are you going to be selling that?
Should we buy it for like a party house in Kamloops?
Well, I was going to say, we need to, like, I would like to be there for the party, but I think we need to have a party before we sell it.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm saying we.
No. Like,
I'm not going to be selling
seriously, my buddy Scotty came with me because he's one of my best friends. And I'm like, look, I'm not sure how much longer this home is going to be in my family's name. So we should probably like do some stuff this summer.
If I get invited this summer,
you have a standing invitation. I don't need to be there. My parents watched our first podcast. They're like, that Denny kid, he's a good guy. he's a good kid.
The only
I don't need to be there.
I have to show up with senior froggies, right?
Oh, do you even know how good that fucking hot sauce is? We should.
Did we talk about this on the first podcast, Carl?
No.
You don't know what senior froggies?
Senior frogs? No, we never did.
Froggies is this weird chain that tried to be started in the 80s of like Mexican fast food out of Spokane, Washington.
It's like a Taco Bell, right?
It would have been a Taco Bell, except the only place that there's like still senior froggies is Kamloops and Spokane, Washington. That's it. There's two major places that have a franchise. And this, we need to go, because the first thing I do when I roll into Kamloops, mom and dad know, on my first day, it's like, I don't make dinner. because I'm stopping by and I'm grabbing like 10 crunchy tacos, and that's what's gonna be
And
happening.
A pail of hot sauce.
And a tub of hot sauce. Actually, we figured out, like, because I got a lot of folks in the office. I'm like, you need to try this, and they tried. Like, that's great. They like it. So I kind of give a poll, or I ask around, like, hey, does anyone want hot sauce while I'm in Kamloops? And I come back. And between that and my friends, I went in and I put in my order. And the girl was like, we just made it. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, this is like 21 liters of hot sauce. She's like, we need like a day to make more so that we can serve Kamloops before you bring it back. Like, okay, I know like James has the whole Steel and Oak thing happening. We need to really talk about opening up one of these fucking franchises here.
Are we talking about a full Senior Froggy franchise or just a hot sauce manufacturer?
I think they go hand in hand. Like, I think we'd have to make some tacos, which, I mean, you know, I
fucking love tacos.
I've been to Playa Tropical on a Friday night, and there's like a 2-hour wait.
Is it that busy? I've only been there for lunches.
Yeah, there's like crazy live music. By the way, they have the best margaritas in New West. I'm just gonna throw that out here.
It's solid. Full recommendation for me.
Full
for that
recommendation. Playa Tropical. Yeah. We went there when I wasn't back on the sauce, and I saw the margaritas go out. And I'm like, this is the coolest place. There's a shit ton of fun stuff happening in New West.
I know.
I think I'm gonna move here. I'm gonna buy that house for 1.5-ish, and come out because I had a banh mi from like a banh mi Vietnamese. There's a Vietnamese sandwich shop. Did you know that? Just off of like up from Columbia.
I do. I haven't been there. I know it's there.
Bananas. Really, really great. I've seen a couple concerts at the Columbia in the last little while. But do you want to go to the Columbia tonight for a guitar show?
Yeah.
We could do that after this.
After this, my plan was to go home, eat food, and work.
Or
the immediate reaction. That sounds great, but let's.
That's it. I'm not going to give it a but. I'm gonna be like, or we get tacos and then go to the Columbia for a rockin' guitar show.
Can you drive me home?
No.
Okay.
No,
Carl?
Carl? Yeah, Carl. Okay, great. That's great. Just keep them coming then.
Okay, but seriously, about this thing in Kamloops this summer.
Yeah, no, you have a standing invitation.
Do your parents like beer?
They don't drink. Yeah.
Okay.
I know. I know.
My thought was going to be if I get invited to Kamloops for a weekend party with Liam and the Rines family.
You know what you could bring my
mom? I was going to bring a keg of beer from Steel and Oak.
Oh. Well, that could just be fun for everyone. Everyone coming. Everyone coming to the house. Yeah, my mom would probably be stoked if you brought her like an IKEA catalog.
That is the farthest thing from what I was expecting. Yeah. I was expecting like flowers.
She likes those. Yeah, she likes those. IKEA catalog though, because how many times she's asked me to bring one and I don't, and you could just show up the first time and be like, "This is for all the times that Liam let you down."
Can you just sign up online and get a free catalog sent every month to you?
Okay.
Can you do that? I'm pretty sure my parents got a free IKEA catalog every month, or maybe like once a season, every 3 months.
You probably could. And they're learning. They're getting so much better with computers. They are. They're getting better. You know what? You can set her up for that on the computer in Kamloops.
Maybe that can be my welcome gift.
It could be. Oh my God, she'd die for that.
Does she have an email?
Yes.
Perfect. That's all you need, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Email and an address. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, she's still they're still of the mindset where they like copies. They like a paper copy. And to be honest, my father worked at Weyerhaeuser for a number of years, and pulp and paper put food on my table. So totally. All those paper haters, suck it.
But that was a thing a long time ago. Not a long time ago. 29 years ago when you were born. That was a thing.
Pulp.
Yeah.
Well, 29 years ago when I was born, my parents had a fish and chip restaurant.
That sounds better.
Yeah, it was
just for me.
it was okay. This is a funny story. I don't even know how much you're gonna keep of this, but this is a pretty fun story.
We do not edit. Everything is.
Oh fuck. Okay. Right. Long awkward pauses. Okay. This is a cool story about mom and dad. Is that my dad was a diamond driller forever, many years.
Really? Okay.
And like
where?
all over BC,
Okay.
some places down in the States. This is back when they used to drop my dad and his crew off on the side of a mountain, and they would like build their cabins and drills. And it's called diamond drilling. They're not drilling for diamonds, they're drilling with diamond bits. And so these guys would do the exploratory stuff. So a geologist would take a look at the land and go, okay, I think there's a chance that there might be this mineral here or this mineral here. So they would have these guys, the drillers, like thrown onto the side of a mountain for 6 months, pull up core samples, and then see what's in that mountain, right? So my dad did this for forever. And he'll crack out his books and show you like some photos and Polaroids of where they were. It's totally incredible. And like, that's like a man job. Like those were men that were living, like building cabins on the sides of mountains and building their drills. And then we're out there for months on end. So this was what he did. And the time that him and my mother were away from each other was huge. They wouldn't see each other for months. So then they moved to Kamloops.
Okay, I just want to say one thing on that story, and I don't think I would be able to survive that type of career.
I don't know.
Props to him. Not that I don't think I'd be like Derek Zoolander. I don't think it'd be that bad. Like, get the black lung.
Oh man, I'm
after one fucking shift in their mind.
Jesus,
that is legit. That's hard.
You know, well, another like a trades guy that is a good friend of mine, Scott. I told you he came to Kelms with me. He was looking at some of the stuff my dad did, and he was just like, "That's
insane,
awesome, and insane." And I think that like I'd be torn. I mean, I'm not afraid of hard work, that's for sure. I mean, we do that all the time, although it's a bit different. But it's the wilderness aspect of things that I think would probably work for me. And I'd be like, oh, okay. So this being out in some of the most beautiful country in the world that like very few men have stepped on, like that might be the, what would weigh it out for me. Yeah. The work aspect of it would suck and be pretty tedious on the side of a mountain, I'm sure. But getting to see that kind of beauty, and especially in some of these parts in British Columbia that are like in northern BC, where nobody gets to see that, you know. My dad saw lightning in a snowstorm up there.
What?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, that's a funny story in its own right.
Did you take a photo?
No, but the guy, the old
that was a joke. Like,
well,
what year was that in? I don't know, 1975.
The old driller that he was with. They've been out there for a long time. And the old driller that was out there with my dad saw like the flashes of lightning in the snowstorm and didn't want to say anything because he wasn't sure if it was like he'd been out in the woods for too long on his own.
Yeah.
And so he saw these flashes and he didn't want to say anything to the driller that he was working with. But the driller looked over and he goes, "I see it too, Ken." And so they had this moment of my dad not wanting to sound like he's, you know, getting cabin fever legitimately. And then this old guy just looking at him and goes, "I see it too, Ken. It's okay." You know, it's lightning in a snowstorm. But anyway, back to it. Like, so mom and
dad. Have you ever seen any cool natural storms like that? Because as soon as you said lightning in a snowstorm, it like flashed in my memory. I was in North Dakota the year after I graduated high school, my first year of university. And there was a tornado that hit a town like an hour and a half away from us where we were in the university. And I remember that night, like sitting out, staring out the window, just taking photos of the sky because it was just like bright flashes of purple. and it was just lightning that was like literally lit up the entire sky in purple.
Sheet lightning when it goes sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, I can remember it so well in my head. And at the time, poor college student, I had this shitty Nokia flip phone, I remember. And I had taken some photos, and it was like the background of my phone for like a year or something. But like, it's just blurry. Like, you barely can see. It literally just looks like a purple flash kind of and black.
Yeah, but think about it. You caught
so
it.
bad.
You caught it on your flip phone. Like you hit the button at the same time that you could catch a lightning flash.
You don't understand how crazy it was. It was probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours of just like flash, like every 7, 8, 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It was so crazy. I've never seen anything like that before.
I got lucky with electrical storms in Kamloops because it's like a desert and it's dry. But when spring happens there's some pretty significant electrical storms, and they're awesome. You know, you get the wind blowing through the valley, and the sky will be really light, and like you'll see sunshine on one side, and the other side is just black over the mountains, and you see all these lightning strikes and stuff. And yeah, it's neat. But a snowstorm, I don't think I ever saw it in a snowstorm. So I'm gonna finish my original thought.
Sorry, go.
So this is what my dad does for a long time. And then they move to Kamloops, and he buys a restaurant because he wants to spend more time with his family. So my mom and my dad have
that's a mistake right there.
Well, it was intense.
Grew up in restaurants, right? My dad ran bars since 15 years before I was born. Mm-hmm. And that is not a good business to be in if you want to spend more time with your family.
Well,
it's like the opposite.
I mean, my dad, the thought in his, and this is what he told me, and this was a long time ago he told me, but when he was traveling in Ireland, he'd been to Galway, and he had fish and chips on the seawall there, or something like that. And he said it was just amazing, and he was a huge fan of fish and chips. And my mom, being from Ireland, he was just like, there was a fish and chip restaurant for sale, and he's like, this just makes sense. So he went from barely seeing my mom to all of a sudden we are living together and we are working together, and it's every day.
How old were
it's
you then?
24 hours. I was an infant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was a baby. And but I mean, yeah, they told me their first night, it was right across from the Memorial Arena. And back then the Blazers were like the WHL team. Yeah. I mean, everybody that later went on to the NHL passed through Kamloops. Like, we were on top of things. And so my parents' restaurant was right across from the the rink where they played. And so it was like either super busy, especially like on the hockey nights, or it was like super quiet. But the first night that my parents had like a real busy night, both of them said, fuck it, we're out of here at the same time. My dad's like, fuck this, I'm out. He's like he's not on the fryer anymore. My mom's like, fuck you, I'm out of here too. And they told me that they're like out the back door, and I can still remember the layout for this restaurant because I was little when I spent a lot of time there. But they told me that they literally got stuck in the tiny exit door out the back of the restaurant, trying to fight each other to get out. And I can only imagine the looks on the staff just going like, okay, these are the ownership is literally just like fucking taken off. Like, yeah. So how they managed to do that was beyond me, but that was what they did for my dad to go from that to spending all of that time together. It's crazy. Hashtag relationship goals.
I'm excited to meet them. This summer. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. We should go sooner than later. I'll probably want to have that place listed no later than maybe September, I guess. Try and catch the fall market there.
Can I make a request?
Yes.
I would like to be in the feature photo of the MLS listing.
Okay. Yes, you can.
Beautiful.
However,
Hold on. Okay.
I want you to put your G&D marketing to use
Ooh.
and market it as best you can.
I am very happy to share on all of our social
You're
media.
not going to get a fucking dollar for it.
I don't. I want zero.
But we'll
want
have a
zero.
picture of
You know what I want?
standing in front of it.
You know what I want? Something you promised me last time you were on the podcast, or last time we had an in-depth conversation. Some fucking hot sauce from Senior Froggies.
Yeah.
You told me you'd bring me some.
I haven't been back. I only was back the one time when we were leaving, getting out of town, and we just decided to keep driving instead of stopping and waiting. Because we left at like 9. Senior Froggies doesn't open until 10.
I'm just kidding.
You
I will
shouldn't be.
gladly share.
Here's the
your
problem: is
parents
like
listening
once you try
with
it,
me in the feature photo.
once you try it.
George Costanza pose on the sofa.
No, oh wait, I want you to do like one of your split kicks.
Yes, I actually did one of them today. I'm getting really good at those.
Yeah, I can see that. And then you will put your marketing machine to work for it. Are you checking your phone right now?
I am showing Carl my split kicks.
How many pants have you been through?
Well, what's interesting, Carl,
You
is
know
that he has a folder that's just split kicks.
That'd be amazing, wouldn't
Like
it?
a floss folder, like a split kick folder.
Look at that one. Look at that one. Look at that one. Pretty good. It's pretty good. It's getting good.
Well, it's amazing. That's Rosie underneath you?
Yeah, jumping over top of Rosa.
She's the best. Ah, man. She deserves better than you guys.
I will take that as a compliment. I don't know how.
I love that gal.
You're having a pretty good 2019.
This year?
Yeah. You're having a good start.
Yeah. Well, I think so.
What are you doing that others are not doing?
Working.
Because there is a lot. Let's go into detail on the definition of work. There's a lot of people that are struggling right now in real estate.
Yes.
I talked to a friend's dad the other day, and called just like checking in. He's like, "How are you guys doing?" So I tell him how our year's going, whatever. He's like, "How many listings do you have?" And I tell him. He's like, "Holy shit! One of my friends is not that he's busy. He does like maybe 15 deals a year. Hasn't done a deal in 2019.
Oh yeah.
Is sitting on goose egg.
Dude,
0.
Dude, 40% of agents right now in the GVRD have done one or less. 40%.
Is that accurate?
Last
40?
time I heard. Yeah.
That's a significant amount.
Mm-hmm. The sky is falling.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think
when people talk about sky is falling, 40% is a big number. 40% of people haven't or done one or less. Does that affect you in any way?
Me?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it affects all of us.
What are your thoughts though?
I think it's time to call your past clients. I think that this is a relationship business. You know, one of the first things I do when I take a new listing or if I have a buyer is I start calling agents that I've had positive transactions with. I mean, like, hey man, you got anybody for this? Or what do you have? You know, just reaching out to an agent that you've done business with in the past. And maybe this is one of those agents that hasn't done a deal yet in 2019. And he just hears from somebody else that actually had a positive transaction with him, asking about how he's doing, or asking about what he's got listed, or if he has any buyers and what it is they're looking for, and how can I help you? I think, how can I help you should be your motto for 2019.
In order to have that luxury to be able to call this database of agents, you have to have treated people well in the last few years.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't focus on that. And that is one thing that I am so curious about is why don't people treat people well?
Oh, okay.
You have to, like, so many people are concerned about short-term results, right?
Yeah.
I want to get this one deal done because I need to make $7,000 and move on.
Oh, okay. So there's
You need to think long-term.
There's two pieces of advice that came to my mind immediately when we just started talking about this. And I get excited about this because this was two very, very solid piece of advice from two incredibly adept agents, one of which who has gone on to create a marketing group that is just mind-boggling how big his business has gotten. But also one of my very early mentors explained to me, because I was coming from the automotive industry, where things were a little bit more adversarial from seller and buyer, and a little bit more cutthroat and a little bit more savage than they certainly need to be, at least on the exterior of real estate. Like, she told me this piece of advice. She's like, look, the other agent is not your enemy. They are not your adversary. You need to treat the other agent as well as you treat your own client, if not better. And there's a lot of stuff she said that didn't stick with me, but that's one of the things that did stick with me. And I do my best to make that happen every single time. And there are not, I mean, there's probably a few, but I don't think there's a whole lot of agents out there that would be like, yeah, that Liam guy, he's a real dick. I hated doing business with that guy. He was a prick.
Why would anyone assume otherwise? It just doesn't make any sense. Why would you treat the person that you're trying to do a deal with like shit?
You know,
there's so many people out there that just don't get it.
God damn. Carol, all right.
Carl likes whiskey.
I'm starting to really like it, yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's cool. I think
I got
we should
Carl
talk
into
about
whiskey.
maybe a 13-step program as soon as we finish this.
Or 100 days off.
Or 100 days off. Yeah, we haven't even... Okay, could we just maybe do the podcast another time and just have this time be we just hang out and shoot the shit?
That's the definition of a podcast. That's the definition of my podcast.
Well, I love
We just hang out and shoot the shit.
That's great. It's great. So here's a nugget of wisdom for all you. No, fuck.
You said one piece of advice. Treat people that you're dealing with
and the other
as good or better.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything said treating someone better than a client, so I would say as good as a client.
Sure.
I think if you're treating someone better than a client, you're doing something wrong.
Well, on the exterior and interior are two different things. There's been times when in my head, I want to find out where this agent lives, bar all the doors from the exterior, and light that motherfucker on fire. Literally watch them and their families burn in this house. I've thought about that on the inside. On the outside, thank you so much. This is amazing. It's been a pleasure doing business with you. I cannot wait to do another transaction with you again. Sure. The exterior and interior are two. We need to keep those firmly separated. But there's been a lot of times when I'm I would eat your heart in front of you before blood loss takes your eyes. So.
That's a clip right there.
Blood loss. Hashtag blood loss takes your eyes.
Yeah. No, I have had many of these conversations with agents where the hardest thing I've had to do is keep the blood vessels in my eyes from rupturing, because I just want to snap, and you don't. So,
do you have any tips of or scenarios maybe, but of what people are doing wrong in our industry right now? What are agents doing wrong? Because to me, looking at 2019, our sales are down a lot. I was actually surprised. I looked at the real estate board of Greater Vancouver's website the other day. We're in President's Club currently for 2019.
Yeah.
That's top 1% of the industry.
Yeah.
Our sales are down from last year, probably 30%.
Mm-hmm.
So I was surprised to see that, but it just goes to show that the market has changed. It's a different market this year.
Here's the thing with President's Club and Medallion and all that. It's number of transactions.
Exactly.
That's based on a scale.
Yeah.
So great. You know what makes me horny? GCI.
Yeah.
And that's what I focus on and what I go after. Actually, I didn't really focus on that.
What's GCI?
Gross commission income. So that's that's your dollar bills, yo. That's cream. it's cream. Because cash rules everything around me. And also, did you know Wu-Tang is coming to Vancouver?
I did not.
Okay, so this might be something we should talk about later.
I think you will be there alone. Without me. It's not my thing.
Are you kidding?
I am not joking.
This interview is over.
Do they do any country music?
Just pulling a Ben Shapiro right now. Take my mic off. Fuck you for asking hard questions. Watch the Ben Shapiro interview. Yeah, just Google.
Okay, I'll YouTube it.
Yeah, it's good. Okay,
You know that one, Carl? Solid?
It was in the news recently.
yeah, dude is like a conservative pundit in the U.S. Just a fucking jackass. And he got asked some pretty hard questions by a very conservative English anchor, actually. And Shapiro ended up calling him like a lefty just for like asking him the questions that he was without even really knowing who he was. It's amazing. It speaks. Am I going down this rabbit hole? It speaks a lot to the polarization that just happens in the U.S. just because you say that you might not agree with one thing that someone else disagrees with. So, like, if you say that you're, pro-choice, then you are obviously lefty. If you say, it's the polarization that's happening down there is just insane. And this was like a perfect example of that. Was that this fairly right-wing, not quite alt-right, but like pretty
Very conservative, very right.
Very conservative. Had no idea who he was speaking to, and just because this guy might disagree or ask a question or even play devil's advocate, which I think that he was doing more than anything, Shapiro just lost it and like got up and laughed. Called him a lefty, which is amazing. Anyway, right. So what are we talking about?
I want to hear what you have to say about that question, though. So my question was, what are agents doing wrong right now? In 2019, obviously the market shifted. It's not multiple offers. Sales numbers are down. What are people doing wrong? Because I have a pretty... I have a pretty big... I don't know if it's advice, but it's just like a comment of like, wake the fuck up kind of thing.
Well, wake the fuck up. But I mean, like, what are we doing wrong is we're maybe...
Not we, because you're having a pretty good start to your year.
Yeah.
We're 4.5 months in.
Yeah.
You're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
You were in the top 20 of Keller Williams Canada-wide last month, weren't you?
Top 25 in Canada.
Top 25.
Couple months in a row. No big...
Deserves another drink, I think.
Actually, oh, fuck. Okay. Holy shit. Yeah, okay, well then, here's my advice. Put your head down and fucking work and quit looking at numbers and just do it. Because that's what I was doing. I had a pretty hefty bill come up that I had to take care of for like about 25 grand, and I paid it in a month because I just put my head down and fucking worked, and that was it. Not everybody, Canadian medical system's pretty fucked up, but we're not going to get into that anyway. What I did is I just got it done old school. I started calling people that I'd done transactions with. I got back to the whole networking aspect of what it is we do. And how about networking with your own clients? How about that? Weird. Like that's not an alien concept, or shouldn't be an alien concept to most of us. But that was it. And when I had people come up to me in the office and be like, "Hey, congratulations for some office achievement," I didn't know about it. Same thing with like the KW Canada stuff. I didn't know about either of those. I didn't know about them because I was just focused on what it is that I was doing. I didn't even know my numbers, like my GCI and sales numbers for this year until a buddy cornered me in the office and was like, "Well, you're having a tremendous year." And I'm like, "Am I? I don't know." That's great. Thanks. It's cool that you know my numbers. I'm working to make those numbers greater. And that's just what I'm doing. You know, sometimes if you just focus on the minutia, and the minutia can be something shitty. And if you're focused on that one shitty thing, it'll just spiral into bigger and bigger and bigger, you know? Yeah, it sucks that sales are down. Numbers of transactions, numbers of sales are down. That sucks. But if you focus on that and what it means to you and just be focused on that, then you're in real trouble. Because then you internalize it. And once it's internalized, you can't get it out of your head.
That's the thing, is it has to be a shift in mindset, and I don't understand where this mindset comes from. So everyone sees lower sales, doom and gloom. All right, my business is over.
Yeah.
Like literally, it's that bad. Agents are so fucking mentally weak. It's silly. Why not turn it around? Why not think this is the greatest opportunity of all time for us? That's how I think. This is the greatest opportunity of all time for our team, for GD team.
Yeah.
This is the greatest year of all time.
Yep. Market share. Grow
Not so much market share, even just we can actually show clients how much value we provide.
Yeah.
In multiple offer scenarios where no matter if a fucking toothpick lists the property, they can get multiple offers and it's going to sell.
Yeah. Which.
How do you compare a similar property? You can't, because it can only sell one, right? But the art of like getting those 8 multiple offers and squeezing them up and making someone extra $25,000 goes unnoticed in a crazy market because everyone is getting 8 offers.
Totally.
Everyone is blown away. So it's such a crazy opportunity to be able to, 1, show your value, 2, show that you can actually communicate with people and articulate that, yes, this is a slower market, but these are the things we need to do to market and sell.
Yeah. What's up now? Copy and paste.
It's so silly to me why people think this is like a negative thing. I think this is the most optimistic, ultra opportunity that I've ever seen in my career in 5 years.
5 years?
5.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was like, it was a downturn market when I got started.
Me too.
You know,
I got started in 2014 and it was like this, but everyone felt it was normal because they'd never seen 2016, 17 before. Right? It literally felt like this.
For me, it was shitty. I mean, I just got my license and I was literally on my own. All my friends were realtors that I met here, and all my friends were my direct competition. It was tough, and that was like 10 years ago, I guess. So, and I mean, the US had just gone through it. It had gone through that violent shitstorm, and the ripples had affected us up here. And yeah, it was a slog. You know, it was like, what do you mean my listing is going to take more than a week to sell? You know? Yeah, it was 6 months before I did my first transaction when I got licensed. And then other agents that I talked to were like, yeah, that's pretty normal. So for anyone that got licensed in the last 3 years, oh man, like you better get your numbers down. And, you know, like one of the best things that I think anyone can do right now is know your neighborhood stats, know your numbers, know what sells, what happened on this street, what happened on this street, especially now. And because your consumer is more informed than we are. Almost. I mean, they have access to almost same amount of information that we do. Mm. So yeah, like you need to know about the last sale, but also know the circumstances of that sale. Try and like have your own inside information as well. So when you're at a cocktail party, you can bring out like some legit hard numbers. I think that's one of the things that you can do, which might sound silly, but know what you're fucking talking about. Man, I don't think anyone in the industry is really like, not a whole lot of us have had to know what we're talking about for the last little bit. Because
that's what I mean in terms of showing your value, right?
Yeah.
Like that comes second nature to me. I assume that if I'm selling someone's house, I need to know everything about that neighborhood. I need to know everything about every sale that's happened in that neighborhood in the last 2 years.
Agreed.
2016, 17, no one knew anything. You'd go to an open house with a client and you'd be like, what, have they updated any electrical? And the agent is just like, I don't know. You're like, what's the age of the roof? Like,
is it knob and tube?
Yeah.
Or is it, wait, what?
No clue.
No, okay, yeah. Just because you watched fucking
the agent
$1
would
million
ask you,
listing.
what is knob and tube?
Just because you watched $1 million listing and like thought this was like a viable vocation for you without you having to know a fucking thing about anything? No. And so to those agents that are not renewing their license, I say, kudos, thank you. Get the fuck out.
Well, okay,
because no, it's not okay for you to. It's not okay for you to not read a property disclosure statement about a parking space and then call me when you are with your client in their lawyer's office signing off on everything and then call me and go, hey, so sorry, what was that again? Here's your check for $10,000. $10,000, by the way, is what a lot of people make in a quarter. And this jackass is collecting that from a transaction and didn't bother to read anything in his representation of his client.
So that's what I love about this time.
Son of a bitch, man. Like
this market that we're in.
Whoa.
I love that there's so much opportunity that most agents don't see. And I love that it forces you to improve. You have to get better. You have to articulate information better. You have to know more stats about neighborhoods. You have to know more. And the people that aren't willing to improve or don't see that that is the only way to survive, see you later, are gone.
Yeah.
Are not going to be around in 2 years.
Yeah. Which I'm thankful for. I'm thankful because I feel like my errors and omissions will, kind of go down a little bit maybe from some of the stuff we've seen in the last little bit. Like,
okay, so for people that don't know what errors and omissions is, we as real estate agents pay an insurance to. Who do we pay to? The Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver, the council? I don't know. Someone collects this insurance anyway. And when real estate agents make mistakes and clients sue them, there's a pot of insurance that pays for the mistakes.
Covers our asses.
So Liam is saying, if we eliminate 1,000 agents that don't do any business, that just fuck up all the time, then our insurance premium could go down.
I'm cool with that. I know some of the stuff I've seen come across my desk in the last 3 years, and some of the stuff that I've talked my clients out of being involved in, and some of what I've talked to them about is, no, it's not okay for you to have a bank draft created directly to the seller, bypassing my brokerage's trust account, because there's 40 other offers on this 40-year-old house that you're not doing an inspection on. No, not okay. And I mean, like, part of that's the reason that I just kind of stepped back the last couple years and been like, I'll work with people I've worked with up until now. But I know I'll work with them because they'll listen to me. And there's a lot of stuff that I am not okay with. And I am not okay with my clients buying a property without an inspection. I am not okay with my clients getting a bank draft together for $150,000 and bypassing a trust account and just writing it directly to the sellers.
I want to ask you about that, because I think a lot of real estate agents assume that their job is to protect clients.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to rephrase that because this is the way that I do business and I talk to people.
To inform your client.
Is to provide all information, provide outcomes of what would happen if they make those decisions, and let them make the decision.
Yeah. Well,
so my job is to not say, if you don't do an inspection, I don't want to write the offer for you because I think that's a bad move.
No,
my
but
job is to say, if you don't do an inspection, absolutely.
I'm sign a waiver that says, I told you to do this.
Exactly.
And you chose not to.
But a lot of agents in 2016-17 were just providing subject-free offers and saying, here, this is what you need to do to win get a property. You better sign it like this or else you're just not going to win.
Yeah.
But the right process is to inform them what not doing an inspection means.
Mm-hmm.
There may be thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars of cost that you're not seeing. The chimney is falling over.
How many oil tank scans
do you think we're done?
How many oil tank scans do you think we're
There's
done?
an oil tank, yeah.
In this neighborhood?
Oh my God, that's ridiculous.
In this neighborhood in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And you know exactly what I'm talking about.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves with agents is
super hilly?
them making decisions for people rather than providing information and letting them make a decision, right?
It's not my fucking money, man.
Oh.
It's not my money. It's not your money. It's our client's money. It's our customer's money. And your job is to say, hey man, so this is the way the market is right now. If you write this offer with subject free, there's a good chance you're going to get it. However, if you do that, I need to have you sign a waiver that says I told you to write a subject to inspection. Now, if you do write a subject to inspection, your chances are slim of getting this because there's 40 other friggin' offers and there's all these cars lined up outside of this house, and this is what's happening. But yeah, I mean, you need to just inform them and have them make the decision for sure. But
what was the most amount of offers you ever had on one property? Because a lot of the public doesn't. Okay, this is actually a crazy point to make. A lot of the public doesn't understand how fucking crazy this market was. It was insanity.
How they know it's crazy is because, I mean, they watched the escalation of pricing and the escalation of pricing.
They weren't involved day to day. They didn't see what a negotiation was like. They didn't see that, like, literally I had 10 offers in front of a seller and I was like, we could probably get more money. Do you want me to call this person? They're like, yes. I'm like, hey, your offer subject free. It's not in the lead. Can you improve? 5 minutes later, they'll be like, yeah, here's another 30, 40, 50, 70,000. It was insanity. And again, you work for a seller, you work for a client, you're trying to get them the best outcome. But it was just so crazy that there was so many people that wanted the property that you could be really aggressive.
Yeah.
And you were like, there was people that were lying. Absolutely. There was people that were taking advantage of it. But from my point of view, I was never lying. I was always giving correct information and saying, do you want it or no?
Yeah.
Because there's 3 that are higher. They're all subject free. Yours is number 4. If you want to improve your price to have a chance, let me know.
Yeah. I won in multiples a lot through.
Of course you do. Then you have all the leverage.
I won in multiples more often than I lost through.
Oh, you won.
I won.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Through
a buyer's
agent.
A
lot of it as a buyer's agent. But because of exactly what I've gone back to, relationships.
Reputation means so much in that crazy market.
Integrity came through a few times within a few thousand, right? There was sorry, I'm in the middle of a fucking deal right now.
It's okay.
There was a lot within reason. I mean, there like through a lot of it. If I was blown out of the water, we're blown out of the water, and there's you can only go so far. But if I was within like a few grand, we would win, because of like if I have qualified my client and I'm talking to you as a seller's agent and I say, yeah, dude, I want to have an inspection, but barring it being something catastrophic in the inspection, that we're good to go, because this is the way I do business, and this is, like I have qualified my clients. We're good to go. There's no 11th hour bullshit. And that got me through on a lot. Now, like I said, I took a tremendous amount of time off through all of that mayhem, and I'm kind of glad I did. Because there's a lot of stuff
was an experience.
There's a lot of stuff that happened that I just don't want any part of at all, for my sellers or for
fun,
me.
But it was insanity.
Yeah, no.
I don't know how to describe. People ask me, how do you describe 2016, 17? I don't know what to say.
Do you remember any of it? Because I feel like it was probably. I feel like everything. A lot of it for a lot of people must just have been like an insane blur. Now I feel like you guys do.
I felt like I was in my element.
You guys do a lot of listings.
Yeah.
So, cha-ching for you guys. I mean, that must have been.
But we spend a lot of money to get them, right?
Okay.
It's not zero output, lots of input, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of marketing expense that has got us to where we are.
Yeah.
And that we continue to do every year.
Mm-hmm. But the door knockers, this is what I mean, is people that put in the work that no one else wants to do. The door knockers, the neighborhood, hey, this is what's going on. We just sold this place. If you don't take the time to do that kind of stuff in the beginning, then you're...
That was the thing, right? Take advantage of, especially in that crazy
just
market,
do
is
what
take
no one else wants
advantage
to
of
do.
every listing that you have. Every listing is pure gold. When 85% of them are getting multiple offers and selling in 5 days, take advantage of them, right? So you get a new listing, great. 200 letters printed, handing them out to every single neighbor saying, here's a new listing we have, open house, come say hi. Then you're meeting some of the neighbors. Then it sells 3 days later, 5 days later. Then you're doing just sold, 50K over asking, 70K over asking. Then you're hitting those same neighbors again and being like, holy shit, this guy is pretty good. Just sold at 50K over asking. It's like a crazy marketing tool that most people were too lazy to do because the market was too easy.
Hey, Amy, I think we can actually do this. Sorry.
Amy.
Yeah. Okay. So we're just, we're in the middle of a live transaction.
We should call Amy right now.
No, we shouldn't.
Right.
We shouldn't. But I will say, hey, Amy, I think we might actually be able to do this, which was a crazy long shot earlier today.
This is going to air in about 2 weeks, so I'm assuming the deal's going to be done before this is on.
I think so. I think subjects will be removed by then. But thumbs up. I think we got this. So, yeah. This is real life. Has a transaction been done on your show before?
Done?
Yeah.
During the show?
Yeah.
I think I've done one. Well, and I'm in the middle of one now, and I just got a text message. So.
Yeah, that's great.
I sent in an offer last night, didn't hear back, so I sent a message a couple hours ago saying, any update? This is the shit that realtors deal with at 7:20 p.m. every single night and later.
Yeah. It's
just,
never over.
Just reach the seller now. I will get back to you. Stay tuned. All right.
Nice. What was
Thanks for the update,
what was the time for acceptance open till?
Till 9. I sent it last night. I sent it. It was over 24 hours.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'll tell you what. Our time for acceptance, 8 p.m.
You got 40 minutes.
Yeah, 40 minutes. 40 minutes to make 3 transactions kind of come into play. And
I feel confident.
Like,
if anyone can do it, Liam.
Like,
it's you.
About 3.5 worth of volume. So that's good. No big deal.
We're gonna make it happen. I'm confident.
Nothing to worry about here. Oh, a couple professionals. Acting professional.
Can we talk about your start to 2019?
To what?
Your start to 2019.
19. Sure.
2019.
Okay. Yeah.
This year.
Yeah.
The current year we're in.
Okay.
Your first 3.5 months.
Oh man. Okay. So we
It's
had
100 days.
Hold
on. I want to understand where did this 100-day idea come from?
Okay. So a friend of mine.
Let people know what the 100-day idea was.
Right. So I had it in my mind to do 90 days. Was going to do a 90-day consecutive workouts, 90-day restrictive diet.
This like weights workout or cardio or mix? Or
You're committing to at least an hour worth of intensive workout, whether it's cardiovascular, whether it's resistance training, or like what I fell in love with was plyometric training and endurance training. That's kind of what I
working on your hops.
Yeah. As opposed to the other hops that I have previously spent the last 40 years working on. It was because I'm like, this October I'm turning 40, and I thought about going into 40 like 200 pounds and just doing what I've been doing for the longest time, or I could go into it and start my year going into it in a different place, mentally, physically, and go into this next decade of my life in a different place, mentally and physically, to be all that I can be.
And
what?
So that the reason to do it was to feel better at 40 than you did at 39?
Yeah, I think so. The last half of my 30s was not awesome. So moving into this new aspect of my life, the 40s to 50s, which, by the way, is totally the new 20s.
Do you care what people think about you?
Do I care what people think about me? Yes, of course. Okay,
because I'm going to give you my opinion. I've met you in your late 30s, which is when you said you weren't feeling as good. And I fucking love you. When did I meet you? 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
So you were 37, whatever. So if your downward spiral, or the where you felt low, was pretty fucking awesome. I can only imagine when you're feeling better.
Well, remember, Denny, I just told you that some of these relationships that I've created with people that I wanted to murder in front of their families also thought that I look like a pretty well together good guy on the outside, and in my mind I wanted to bathe in their blood.
That is aggressive.
I am aggressive is something a lot of my clients pride me on. Being a chameleon in this industry and putting on a brave face and hiding a lot of your hurt is what we do.
That's the first thing I tell people. So a lot of, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's social media or whatever, but a lot of young agents reach out to me when they get into the industry. And I meet with maybe like 2 or 3 a month.
Sure.
One of the big things is like, how do you succeed? The first thing I tell them is you have to be adaptable.
Yeah.
Chameleon, same thing.
You are a chameleon.
You need to portray a different part of yourself to who your client is, to who the realtor you're working with is.
Yeah, I mean,
if someone is super analytical, you need to provide them with a shit ton of stats.
Yeah.
If someone just wants your honest opinion, you need to have some information, but then relate that in a way that they're going to understand.
Hey, man, I work with Black Panthers and I work with Nazis.
I don't care who you are. Yeah, I don't care.
I'm kidding.
That's a bit of a stretch. Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch.
You gotta be. You do have to. I mean, yeah. Okay, of course I'm joking. I don't work with any Nazis or that many Black Panthers.
Just a disclaimer at the bottom of the podcast. On YouTube, Liam does not work with Nazis.
Yeah. But no, I mean, you are a chameleon and you do adapt. I mean, one of the first things you learn about sales is mirroring and matching. although I've never given a whole lot of that any real credence in the way that I do business. I whatever my client's going through, I kind of go through too, and I try and empathize with them on a level that you just you end up kind of maybe taking some of their stuff on. But one of the other things that you do is you cover your own stuff. You cover your own hurts, your own whatever. Put on this image, and social media is a great thing for that. I think we talked about this last time. I wish my life was as awesome as it is on fucking Instagram, because that's what you show. What you go through is what's happening inside is totally different. So yeah,
What's the hesitation though there?
What do you mean?
What is the obstacle that we're trying to get over that we can't be exactly who we are on social media? What are we avoiding? What are we trying to hide?
Okay. Well, there's a couple different avenues that we can look at for that question. Yeah, there's nobody wants to talk about the shitty things.
Why not? I do.
Yeah. And
because I know everyone has shitty things.
Yeah.
And I know they're not comparable. You can't compare Carl's shitty things to mine to yours.
Yeah.
They're different.
Yes.
People deal with them differently. But I think people should be very open about their shitty things.
But
I think shitty things are normal in your life.
But do you want to talk about shitty things that happen to you? Or do you want to talk about shitty things as in how you internalize them and how shitty your life is? Because those are two different things. If you look on a Yelp review of a restaurant, you're going to see a ton of like shitty stuff, right? But if you look at a Yelp review for the restaurant Yelping itself, do you see the restaurant going, actually, yeah, like those burritos I made were subpar, and I made them subpar because the burritos that my dad made for me were really shitty. And like that's it. I mean, everyone doesn't mind talking about like negative things that happen to them. I mean, when people talk about negative things that happen to them all the time, but do they talk about negative things that is going on in their life that they're in control of, or maybe they are that are just really real? I'm trying to find a way to articulate this, and I'm not sure
why can't
if
we,
I
though?
can.
What are we afraid of? That's what I'm trying to get at.
Well, I didn't talk a whole lot about any of my breakups on Instagram. I just wanted to show like a brave face and this is my life and this is what's going on. But
what? Everyone breaks up.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Everybody does. But do I need to like put a quote on there about like what happened and how much it ripped me apart and like broke me for a couple years?
If it's real,
no.
Why not? What's the harm?
For me,
because I look at it as if you're being real and honest.
Yeah.
The only thing it could do is help someone that is going through a similar situation.
Okay.
Right? I'm not making up a fucking fantasy land being like, oh, this is so bad. I'm so entitled to feeling better about myself and I deserve this bullshit. This person didn't give it to me. It's more just like, I felt really shitty. I was getting treated like garbage. I had to leave. I'm not happy about it. I feel like I hurt her. I had to leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is that on any of your Instagram right now?
I think I have some posts.
Yeah?
I think I can be more honest.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
think I'm going through a legal battle that causes me to be a bit filtered.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, let's share that, man. let's put that out there.
A few months away.
Yeah. No, I don't suggest you go there, and I don't suggest you put that out. But I try and tie in the best parts of my life to my social media, and in some, like, you want to see how I'm really feeling about shit, check out my Twitter, because nobody's on my fucking Twitter. There's like I don't know, like 5,000 people on my Facebook and 4,000 on my Insta, and I try and keep that, like, me, my family, my dog, the things that I love, and things that make me happy, because I'm on both of those fairly often. And if I scroll down my Instagram or I scroll down my Facebook, I see things that make me happy. And that's as much for me as it is for anyone else.
Okay.
And also, I'm going to make Poco's own Instagram page. It's coming.
You should. I have a client. I sent you my client's page.
Oh,
she has like 60,000 followers.
60,000 followers for her dog.
She does a phenomenal job with photography, though.
She does.
Shout out to Allie.
By the way, does she want to buy?
Instagram is Allie in the Wild. You should follow it.
By the way, does she want to buy? Does she want to buy that townhouse? Does she want to buy that townhouse?
Likely not. They still want to look.
Okay. Hey, that's cool.
It wasn't perfect for them.
That's cool. We'll find it. Well, I have another house listed in Coco. Maybe they'd like to see that too.
Liam's gonna cold call me tomorrow and be like, "Hey, Denny, we did a deal like 4 years ago. Remember, we had this really nice conversation.
Yeah,
Liam, I saw you last night.
Yeah, this is what I got listed. Whatever. Yeah. Do you remember it? Not really.
Got this sweet house in Burke Mountain. It's like 1.5-ish.
1.5-ish. 1.5-ish. Yeah. 5-ish. Love it. But no, they were awesome. And anytime that I have any of your folks come through any of my open houses or whatever,
they're sweet.
As soon as they say, we're represented. Yeah, who's your realtor? Denny Dumas. Oh, really? Let's get a photo, because I fucking love that guy.
You sent me a selfie of him in his open house with my clients over there.
Yeah. Well, it's because, we haven't done business together yet, but we will.
Absolutely will.
And when we do,
it's going to be smooth.
I will destroy you. Oh, wait, no, I mean smooth. Yeah, smooth.
Liam's going to want to murder me in his mind, but he's going to be so nice on the outside.
I mean smooth. Yeah. Will not be mounting your head on a stick.
Please don't bathe my blood in your eyes
in front
like
of the unit,
earlier.
No. There's so much you need to edit out of this. Like, I can't even.
We don't edit. It's a real podcast. It's just catching up. This is if we went to a bar and had 3 beers or 7. This is the conversation we'd have.
That's true.
That's the best part about podcasts.
But there isn't a camera on me.
But there's so much value that, like, these experiences that we're sharing can provide to people, right? That's what I'm getting at with Instagram, is why can't we be honest? Why? I don't understand. Is it because we're scared about what people think?
But like one of the coolest things I think Instagram has done in the last little bit is they removed like numbers.
I still get them.
You will see how many, but nobody else will.
I can see how many likes you get.
You can't.
I can. I'm going to go to your profile right now and tell you how many likes you had in your last photo.
All right. Give her.
Liam. Serious Liam.
Serious Liamer. I'm serious.
You had 52 likes on your photo with Josh Bath from 5 days ago.
Wait, why do you get that? I don't see likes.
You can't. You're not supposed to anymore. So that's interesting.
Guys have cracked the system. Hit me up on Instagram, Denny.Duma. I will show you the way.
Is it your business account?
I have no fucking clue. I don't know. I can see people's likes. I don't know. I know. I saw the article saying Instagram is
interesting. Yeah.
Only the owner can see the likes, but other people can't.
Was there like a little bit of a time that you couldn't see anyone's likes, or
0?
Really?
Lawrence.
When is the last time you updated?
Denny can't see likes. 3 days ago.
3 days ago? Okay.
That's weird.
Can you pull up my dick pics and see how many likes? Because that should be a little bit higher than 52. I'm just saying.
Let's see. Tacos. Dude, your dog is hilarious.
He's a rock star, man.
He's hilarious.
He's it. He's everything.
I want to hear a little bit more about your last month, and then we can get out of here and go get some tacos.
That's my
Sorry,
wife.
not your last month. Your first few months of the year.
Okay. Yeah. Ask
So
away.
you told us why you decided to do this. You wanted to look better at 40 than you did at 30.
I wanted to feel better. I wanted to
Feel
be.
better.
I wanted to be like in a better place, mentally, physically, emotionally, everything than I have been in the last half of like from 35 to now. Yeah.
The workout thing I get, but you also decided to not drink for that time.
100
frame.
days. Yeah, because it was a restrictive diet too.
This is a good question. What was more challenging? Working out for
Not
100 days
drinking,
straight or not
100%.
drinking 100 days straight?
100% not drinking. And which is like, this is what's funny about that whole thing is that like giving up something for 100 days is literally just showing a modicum of self-control. Like, it's really,
You're right. You're totally right.
it really should not be that big of a deal. Like,
In the midst of it, though, while you're going through it, it's probably so painful. But if you look back and be like, 3 months, I could totally do that. Why is that so hard?
it's, yeah. Well, it's 3 months. Yeah,
Yeah.
you say 3 months. Yeah, no biggie.
Yeah.
However, when you're 73 days in and you're counting days, like, that's a bit of a different story.
Mhm.
And in our line of work, I don't know how many dinners I had to go to, how many
Totally.
meetings or possessions that I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna shake this bottle, we're gonna pop it. Awesome. I love my San Pellegrino. Like I wish I could share this moment with you a little bit better because you've been saving your entire life. You've moved here from Mexico. You got your PR card. You're buying your first home. And I'm shaking up this bottle of champagne and I'm going to drink a San Pellegrino. Thank you very much for your time.
Even just our demographic of who we typically work with is like 30 to 40 somethings, right?
Yeah.
Often someone will send us an email and be like, hey, we're referred to you by this person. We'd like to talk about selling our condo, buying a house, whatever. Sure, great. Let's meet for a coffee next week, Tuesday. You let me know what time. They're like,
Yeah. Coffee.
Can we grab a beer? Like, we'd like to go to Steel and Oak or wherever.
Yeah. I work
My answer is always
5 days a week.
absolutely.
I work 5 days a week, 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
Do you think I want to meet you for a coffee in a little bit of the off time that I happen to have? Fuck no. If I have a
Exactly.
little bit of off time
Exactly.
and I work a 9 to 5, which there's no such thing of anymore, the majority of the world works in hours that are different than ours. And yeah, you're absolutely right. So it's a Saturday evening.
Well, that's because we work with normal people, and a lot of people have regular jobs that are like between 7
Yeah.
and 6.
7 to 6.
So
Yeah.
we work outside of 7 and 6.
We work outside of 7 and 6,
But we
but
also
when
work
you
inside.
ask them to meet you on a Saturday night for a cup of coffee, they're like, "Are you out of your fucking mind?
You're like,
I've
let's get
just
some double
worked-
margaritas.
I've just worked 7 to 6 for the last, I don't know, fucking 15 years saving up this goddamn deposit and fucking down payment that I need to make this 20% CMHC bullshit that they have in Canada."
Mhm.
Yeah. You think they're going for a fucking cup of coffee? Yeah. No.
So not drinking was the hard part.
I think so. Yeah. I think so. I mean, yeah. Yeah, that was the tough part. The tough part was not seeing it as a form of escape as well as not, of course, being able to celebrate with clients or to be a part of that. It also taught me that I don't need it to celebrate with a client. I can be just as a part of the celebration without as I was with.
I think that's actually a good point you made, is the escape factor.
Oh,
Is like
God.
so many people use it, right?
dude.
Stressful day at work, immediately get home,
Yeah.
crack 3 beers.
Yeah,
Does it work?
well,
Absolutely, it works.
I never went home and cracked 3 beers, but I would definitely like
Really?
3, dude. Jesus.
7? How many?
at least like a case, bro. No. I've never been like, wow, today sucked. I'm going to go home and drink 3 beers. There's been times when my day
I'm at 3 as soon as you get home.
like just like a normal day. Like
No,
you're
just
not
like stressful day at work, get home,
Yeah.
3 beers are open because the first one's going down pretty quick, and then you're sitting
Yeah.
on the couch with 2 more.
maybe it's because I'm not a beer guy. But I mean, I would definitely have like 3 couple fingers of scotch when I got home. But it was never like, man, today sucked. I'm gonna go home
That's a thing in our
and
industry.
like chug some whiskey.
Got some more?
Fuck, yeah, dude, 100 days. Are you out of your mind? It was never the reason for it though. Like I would be out with my friends, and if you came from like a restaurant background like I did, originally.
Me too, brother.
Yeah, no, we always played catch up. So my formative drinking years growing up were like playing catch up. Like I would get off work at 11. All my friends that had real jobs had been there since like 9. And so we had to play catch up. My relationship with alcohol was always like playing catch up. So that's why there would be, like the quantity that there was if I got home. But it was never like, man, today was the shitty day. I'm going to go home and I'm going to like chug 3 beers. It was always like, man, yeah, today was a shitty day and I'm at home, but I only know how to chug beers. It wasn't like this was my intention to chug beers. It was like, I only know how to chug beers because all of my time growing up, we would get to the bar at midnight, finishing a shift at the restaurant, and everyone else had been there for 4 hours. So you have to play catch up. So
Yeah. I mean,
does that make sense? This
I bartended for
better be cut.
I bartended for 5 years, and no, nothing is getting cut. I bartended for 5 years, so I know exactly what you mean. There's oftentimes, it's a weird industry to be in, right? Because you work crazy hours.
Yeah.
You work till like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
at the bars I worked, and then everyone would start drinking after their shift, right?
Yeah. So okay.
You would sit at everyone would be out. We'd be sitting at a bar or at a table doing cash outs, and everyone would be like, "Do you want a beer? Yep. Do you want a beer? Yep." So we start drinking at 1 a.m. and then like, "What do you want to do?" I'm like, "I'm going home to sleep. I got another job that starts at 7 a.m." Whereas like everyone else is like, "Well, there's an after hours bar down the street. Let's go over there." It's just a crazy industry.
Oh no, man! Yeah, I would be bartending or serving. It's 1 a.m. You're rushing through your cash out. You're chugging because your friends that got at the bar at like 10 o'clock have been there the whole time.
Yeah.
And so this was a large portion of my 20. And so like, I can guarantee you anyone that was in that industry, in food and beverage, and doing it like we did, when it comes, like if you put a drink in front of either one of them, I know who's going to finish first. Because it's just it's ingrained in you. It's a part of it. And then also like there's a certain amount of bravado that comes with that culture as well. Like, do you remember the last time you drank with a chef? Like a legit chef?
Maybe. No. So as soon as you said chef, 3 people came to mind. One of them now runs an oyster shucking business, who is such a beauty.
Is it one?
Should probably meet him.
One of us?
No.
Is one?
His name
Because
is,
I love Wandering Mollusk. I'm just going to
His
put
name
this
is
on
Scotty
here. I
Wolf,
love Wandering Mollusk.
but it's not really
Mollusk.
Scotty
Okay.
Wolf. It's Scotty boarding on.
Okay. Wait, where's he at?
His company's called Big Shucker. He does like a kind of food truck type of thing that he goes to different events with.
Was he ever his name's Scotty?
Scotty boarding
Was
on
he ever
is his
at
last name.
Fanny Bay?
Yes. He was the manager. He was the kitchen manager at Fanny Bay for a
Okay.
few years.
That's hilarious. Hey Scotty, what's up?
We had him on the podcast. He's phenomenal.
I met Scotty when I was I just need to I just need to like send this.
Please, focus.
Okay.
Send it. Me and
Okay.
Carl can go off on a side spurt if we want.
Okay, well, the Scotty thing is actually pretty bitchin' because I was at
I love when people describe stuff with bitchin', because I don't really know what it means, but I'm assuming it's good. Yeah.
So it was so good. It was pretty funny. So I had like been on and off with this chick for a while, and like this woman like grossed like 34 grand a year. But every time we went out, it was fucking champagne and oysters. Every single time, man. Every single time. We go for dinner, $400-500 every fucking time, man. Every time.
I'm assuming she never offered to take the bill.
Are you kidding? I paid for my own birthday dinner. We went to Coast again because champagne and oysters, right? So we, we weren't dating for a bit, or we were off, and we're still talking. So we went to Fanny Bay Oyster Company or whatever, and I'd never been there before or anything, and that happened to be like another like $400 or $500 dinner. But Scotty, the best part about that entire night was like dealing with Scott.
100%.
Scott brought out obviously I spent a shit ton of fucking money there, and it was like, just, do you know what kind of champagne selection they have there? Because it's not awesome. However,
what kind of whiskey selection they have there?
I enjoyed that as well. that particular night, especially when I got the bill. But Scott ended up like bringing out like a couple scallops, like just raw scallops, like beautiful.
So I've been to Fanny Bay one time, and I knew Scotty beforehand, and we had a whiskey event there. So we went there to drink whiskey and
I
eat
missed
oysters.
that night. I missed that. I got the
You
WhatsApp.
did get the invite.
I got the
Yep.
WhatsApp thing, and
And he brought out these raw scallops that were like probably one of the best things I've ever had.
yeah, it was delicious.
Silly how good it was.
It was, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure it was delicious. By that time, I had just like unloaded on this woman and told her exactly what I thought about her and exactly what had the last like 6 months had been. And it was one of those weird things where if I had gone into that evening as like me being Mr. Nice Guy, me being, just kind of the way that I normally operate things, it probably would have went the other way. But that entire evening was like a verbal beatdown of all of the negative stuff that this person had kind of brought into my life and it kind of done to me. And it was one of those weird things when like the more real and the more of, I'm sure it came off as kind of jerky. Like the more jerky that I was, the more she was into me. And I went in there with the intention.
I was not expecting that.
No.
I went in there with the intention of like being like, yeah, I'm going to tell her exactly what she's done to me and exactly how shitty it is. And I did that 100%. And then we went home together and I'm like, this is not what I was expecting to do. I came with my intention of being like kind of a dick and being a bit of a jerk and telling you that this is not all right. You shouldn't treat people like this. And then I had like maybe it was like a Jedi mind trick on me, because I ended up like going home with her and I'm like, this is great. And then I paid for her movers like 2 weeks later. So yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Okay.
You gotta call me when you're in these situations.
Yeah. You know what? I'll never be in these situations anymore.
I'll be your
because
voice of reason. I'm happy to do that.
I don't put myself out like that anymore, Denny. I don't.
Oh. It sounded like this was like a few months ago. How long ago was this? Because Scotty only worked there from like till recently, 2015 to 2018, maybe.
This is like maybe a couple months ago last year. Yeah.
So you're a changed man in the last 12 months.
Yeah. Well,
does this 100 days have to do with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think because I got really in my head for that 100. One of the things
what was the most negative thought you thought? Do you remember that? Was there like a really bad day?
Several, yeah, but
you just want to sell this thing and get out of here, don't you?
sorry. Hold on a sec here.
Hey, you finish your text. You ever had an oyster, Carl?
I've never had an oyster.
Are
You're
you
kidding,
shitting
right?
me? Okay, well,
We had
I
Scotty
have friends.
boarding on the podcast, and you've never had
Well,
an
he
oyster.
didn't bring any.
Fuck.
I
Okay.
know.
We gotta go
I-
visit Scotty. Big shucker.
I'm down.
I have friends that have a pop-up oyster bar called Wandering Mollusk. They're based out of Salt Spring Island, and Jesse and his crew go to the breweries in Port Moody all the time. They pop up there. So you have you're in Port Moody. You have beautiful breweries right there, beautiful beers. Rocky Point is right there. I'm just gonna put this out here to Lucas and to Monica. This is not a fucking plug for what you guys are doing.
But
I also like Port Moody. You can do that there, where they have this amazing these amazing oysters, beautiful beers at Yellow Dog and Rocky Point right there. It's a great day.
is Yellow Dog your favorite brewery in Port Moody?
I think so.
Mm.
Yeah, I remember.
Why? Beer quality, atmosphere, people.
Well, it was one of the first.
Just because they have dog in the name, you like dogs?
I like dogs. I do. I like dogs. Well, I remember it's I have a connection there with their GM, Mike Huffman, who's just one of him and his wife Darby are just two really amazing, real human beings. And I have popped in some of the more surreal parts of my life. I just popped into Yellow Dog and had to sit down with Mike while he's working behind the bar, and he's just he just cuts to the bone about shit that actually matters, and that guy will call me out on all my shit. And there's not a whole lot of people that can do that. And Mike kind of brings me back to reality. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I like Yellow Dog as much as I do. And one of the others is, I remember Moody had opened up and Yellow Dog had just opened, and I was sitting there, and we're sitting in an industrial area of Port Moody. And at this time, there was literally abandoned buildings with security fencing around them in the main street of Port Moody. I'd moved from Kamloops to Port Moody, and thinking I was moving to the big city of Vancouver, and there was a lot more going on in Kamloops than there was in fucking Port Moody at that time. It was a dead zone. We were sitting at the bar in Yellow Dog and just going, yeah, this beer is amazing. Do you think this shit is gonna fly? I don't know, man. We're right beside a fucking tire shop. In a town that people think is past Pitt Meadows. If you said Port Moody to anyone in Vancouver, they're like, oh, is that by Maple Ridge? Or they just don't know. They have no idea. And yeah, I think that's why I love it as much as I do, is because I think that's one of the reasons why I love Port Moody as much as I do. At the same time that I moved here, we would take a walk down Columbia Street, and Columbia Street was just here in New West was just a mess. There was just
Not long ago, man.
there wasn't
Not
a whole
long
lot
ago.
going
I
on.
know.
You guys had a super old municipal government that was I don't like change. And
They're still there.
yeah, well, yeah. I met your mayor a little while ago. Yeah, he's great.
Dear God.
I mean, sorry.
Don't meet the planning department, because they'll be
He's
in your
great.
crazy fucking dreams about burning their houses down.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, they're insane.
I
Anyway.
will teach you. I will teach you my ways, Denny. I will teach you my ways. Yeah, I mean, even when I came here, I went to the Key, and the Key was abandoned. There was one store in it And I'm like, this is waterfront in Vancouver, and there's nobody here. Port Moody was suffering from a very, very similar thing. It was fear of change, fear of growth, and that doesn't mean that you're gonna tear your neighborhood down and turn into condos. It just means that like you have a government that's open enough, or a municipal government that's open enough to some levity of opening up some cool shit. And look how much cool shit New West has right now. Like we'd mentioned earlier.
We're getting there.
We'd mentioned earlier.
It's getting there.
I went to a Vietnamese specialty sandwich shop. Like that's pretty specific, man. Like that's pretty specific. You have that happening now. Here, in Port Moody, we have Spaccanapoli. Like there's a very specific, amazing pizza store, and we have Brewers Row. We have
Fifth brewery opening up soon.
Yeah. I mean, and like that's expanding
Called the bakery.
Outward.
Bakery. Moody Ales.
There's Parkside. There's Yellow Dog.
Twin Sales. Moody Ales. And the bakery. Soon to come.
Amongst the handful of distilleries on the way.
You made a really good point that I like talking about is you like literally the thing you said, you like Yellow Dog the best because you know someone who is the GM who you have a relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
So much of business is building relationships. And I think people overthink that. Or people underestimate that.
Do you see the tie in there, Denny, to what we talked about originally? About what people should be doing differently?
Yes.
Everything comes down to relationships.
That's what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Is that so many people are so consumed over short-term gain, right?
Yeah.
They don't care if they screw people over. They just want to get a paycheck tomorrow. But the value of building a long-term relationship with someone is so much better. Well, it's like 10 times, 100 times. It's like insanity.
Guess what?
How much better it will be.
So, let's put it this way. You and I have never done a transaction together. Are we friends? Yes. If we were to do a transaction together, would that friendship come into play? Yep. Would it interfere with business? Nope. But the chances of me saying, hey man, I have a 1-bedroom condo in Cloverdale. Do you have anybody for that? It's super beautiful, blah, blah, blah. The chances of you taking me seriously because of our relationship, like pretty good, and this is what's going to get us all surviving. There's a lot of agents in the industry right now that don't give a fuck about any of that stuff.
I know.
And they don't know that nobody's looking. Nobody's like, what do you mean you know I had this like 2-bedroom condo listed in Burnaby? How did you not know? Really? What do you mean? How did
everyone watch MLS day to day?
This is insane. Yeah. How did you not know? Well, we don't know because we're doing business with people that we have a short list of people that we do business with. And in my word to any one of those people on my short list, if I say that I have a qualified buyer, and we do an inspection and short of a foundation crack or a fucking an oil tank leaking into an adjacent property, we're probably going to go through the transaction. And by the way, when I say that like I have a qualified buyer, I mean that I'm in relationship with their mortgage provider as well.
100,000%.
And so when I say, yeah, this guy's good to go, me saying that, like it's pretty legit. There are only a handful of transactions that I've done in the last 3 years where I am not in a working relationship with the mortgage provider. So that if I shoot him a fucking text message at 11 o'clock on a Sunday night, this guy is going to answer me and give me and call me back. Like, these are the types of relationships that you need to have in play.
Okay, this is strictly for my amusement only.
Yeah.
Maybe Carl's as well. What is the most ridiculous thing you've seen on an addendum between accepted offer and subject removal? Because I've got some good ones that might blow your mind.
Like buyer bringing to me?
Yes. So you have a listing.
Okay.
You have an accepted offer. Someone does an inspection and they bring you an addendum with some things that they want you to fix. What's the most ridiculous thing you've seen?
Oh, fuck. Nothing. No, I not a whole lot, because if there's anything weird, I wipe it out.
No. But that has been presented to you. Of course you're crossing them out.
Yeah, or just
like
not,
they're
or just
fucking insane.
Okay, maybe this is making me feel like I live a pretty boring life.
I don't think anyone thinks you live a boring life.
But also kind of like a happy one business wise. I haven't seen a whole lot of crazy shit. Although, like, I will say in the last little bit, I've seen a lot more like involvement with professional cleaning services, which me being on the buying end in the last little while, I can't help but agree with. And I'm also offering to pay for a lot of professional cleaning services to my sellers, just as kind of like a way to just not have this happen anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I haven't seen a lot of crazy stuff come across addendum wise, but I have certainly been to my housewarming for my clients moving in, and had a house full of stuff where sellers are kind of moving out at the same time, and I have to call Colin Thornton.
Is that your junk removal guy?
No, he was the listing agent on it, and so
I just assume it's like junk removal.
And so Colin and I are helping his clients move out of his house on my client's possession day. Like that was pretty great. It was all right.
You want to hear a fucking crazy one?
Tell me.
This is the most craziest one I've ever seen.
You know what? Here, give me that list. I'm gonna start interviewing you because I want to hear some more about. I want to hear some Denny shit.
All right. So I had a condo. This was probably like a year and a half ago. We had a condo in Victoria Hill. Really nice neighborhood. It was 3 years old. Immaculate condition. Accepted offer. Do an inspection. They sent an addendum with 11 items. And the items are literally like one light bulb in kitchen burnt out. You must replace light bulb by subject or by completion. Sure. Not a big deal. Next. Hallway closet door jamb sticks. Must be fixed. Sure. Keep going down this list of just like ridiculous things. Like maybe total cost of $60 on a $600,000 condo. Number 10 of 11. I remember this specifically. There was number 10.
Okay, so
for
wait,
whatever reason.
let's back all this up.
Okay.
$600,000. That
It was like
condo,
a really nice 2-bedroom condo. Really
that
nice
condo is over. It's a 2-bedroom space.
Yep.
How many square feet?
I think it was 1,050, something like that.
So 1,000-ish square feet.
Yes, we're back to the
for over $500,000.
That is correct. Yeah.
Again, so
About
we're gonna bring everybody back into the reality of our fucking Vancouver market.
Okay.
This buyer's agent was giving Denny a bitch list for the total of about $60 for a $600,000 condo. What is a down payment? A CMHC approved down payment?
$120,000.
$120,000. So somebody had to save up $120,000 to make this fucking purchase. Probably have a pretty good clean credit score as well.
And they're concerned about
fucking light bulbs.
There was just one light bulb. One kitchen light bulb was
one
out.
light bulb and a sticky door jamb. So although I will say this, I appreciate their thoroughness.
Very thorough.
Go on, Denny.
So number 10.
Yeah.
I don't remember the next 7. Number 10.
Number 10.
Literally, word for word. This sticks in my mind.
Uh-huh.
2 dead bees on windowsill must be removed by completion.
Is this real life?
I'm 100% serious. 2 dead bees on windowsill. First of all, good for them that they noticed there was 2.
Yes.
What the fuck is happening here?
That's
Is this real life? I don't understand.
That's one wipe of the cloth.
It's comical that an agent thought this was a good idea to send an addendum to piss off a seller. 2 dead bees need to be removed. Sure, no problem. Check. Like, it's just it's outrageous.
That's crazy.
It's hilarious. I don't understand. You've never seen anything like that, Liam. Nothing ridiculous like that. Because I have multiple stories. It's comical.
I didn't see a whole lot of that. But
What would your reaction be if you got an addendum saying 2 dead bees need to be removed from the windowsill prior to the completion?
okay, hold on a second.
I think that's doable.
You're like, hold on a second. This is asking too much.
What am I, a beekeeper here?
What? My bad for opening the window in the summer. My bad. It's outrageous.
Okay, hold on. All right, I need you guys to banter for a sec.
Are we taking a break?
Yep, we're taking a
Let's
break.
take a break. I need to pee.
Oh, pee break? Oh, fuck.
This is going to be the first time in Zero to Here podcast history they would cut it.
So, like, I know they want to buy. I know my seller wants to sell. Both of these things cannot happen if one side chooses to not. A 10-minute difference in time for acceptance, who cares, right? So now, if I was the buying agent, I could use that as leverage and be like, well, we don't really have a deal, but if something else pops up. But okay. How do you feel about this industry after this?
That's a good question.
No, man, because you've sat in on a bunch of this shit. I'm really, really curious as to an outsider's perspective.
I feel like you guys honestly have like the best interest in heart, but you also have little tactics to get the most out of every deal. Was that fair to say?
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would say strategy.
But
I
you're
would
honest,
say-
right? You're not like going behind the person's back.
I would say I am 100% conscious of ethics
Right.
in all situations. So I'm never lying. I'm never telling someone I have another offer when I don't.
Oh, that kind of shit is fucked up.
But
Like,
you never
straight
know.
up,
Like
like, just
as a
making
buyer's
shit
agent,
up,
you
yeah.
never know. You just have to take their word for it, right?
But you guys do exaggerate a bit.
if
I don't exaggerate.
if
No?
I
No.
if I
I will only ever be honest. So like I said, when 2016, 17 were crazy. So if you have 5 offers, I would call each of the bottom 4 back and be like, you're not in first position. If you want the place, you have to improve your offer.
Right.
I'm not lying. There's one that's higher. So then someone will come above that, and then I'll call number 1 back.
Right.
You're
No,
not in
that
first
makes sense.
place. You have to improve, or else you're not gonna get.
That's being honest, right?
My job is
You
like if
have to
Liam's
be
my
honest.
seller, that's my job is to get him the best outcome.
your
to me, I
fiduciary
have to
duty
feel like
is
that.
to
I
get
have to
him
do
is
that.
to get me the most amount of money or the most favorable terms
Exactly.
for what it is I have asked him to do.
Yeah.
But what
Yeah.
about
So in one-on-one negotiations, it's very different because you don't have much leverage. Whereas when you have multiple offers, you have a lot of leverage. So you can,
like you said that story when you had like 3 customers, right? And you all booked them at the same time. You're kind of creating an illusion a little bit, right? You seem a little bit busier than you are.
Oh, okay. I'll give an impression.
Yeah, how do you approach that?
I'll give an impression, and
it's an
and
impression,
that's
for sure.
like I gave an impression for
but you're
sure.
not- but as they're walking through, you're not like, I have
just said
14 showings later today. You're
I
not
just
saying
said,
that.
Right.
hey,
Yeah.
these like I have other interested parties, and I'm trying to get everybody through.
Which you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I did, and what they didn't necessarily know is that like those interested parties that I was talking about
There's only two others.
was the other two others that I was bringing through and funneled through at the exact same time.
Is there a deal that you guys feel bad about? Maybe you were
Nope.
early on. Never.
What I feel bad about? No.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot
There's
of stuff.
only one deal that I've ever felt bad about, and that is I represent a seller. They bought a place with another agent, sold it a year later. They used us to sell. It was the only deal I've ever had that didn't complete. Only deal, probably 500 deals. Only deal I didn't have that didn't complete. Whatever, we marketed it, we sold it. From subject removal to completion, the buyers went to the city, found that the city only has record of 3 bathrooms in the place, and the place had 4 bathrooms. So they said, where did the 4th bathroom come from? Marketed. My guys bought it, had 4 bathrooms. Now it has 4 bathrooms. I don't know. Anyway, so apparently the previous seller put an extra bathroom in that was not permitted with the city. So the buyers got like scared and said, we're not completing on the deal. So my seller's like, well, what do I do? Can I sue them? Like, that's it. Like, you got to talk to a lawyer. Anyway, it didn't complete. He talked to his lawyer and he figured out he had to go to the city to get this extra bathroom. But I've never felt bad about the way that I negotiated. Ever. That was something that I had no clue about
Right.
until after. Have you ever felt bad? No, I don't think, like, good people who just want to get the best outcome don't treat people like shit.
I felt bad for situations that I've been in. You know, one of the reasons why I'm not super stoked to represent a divorce is
Right. Yeah, but you can't
like because that's tough. Like that sucks. And that's energy I kind of don't want to be around. But again, like I mean, I say that, but if it's friends of mine in a divorce, you better believe I'm going to be there for them.
Oh yeah.
And I might walk into a situation and be like, oh, this is gonna suck. But
might as well finish it.
Regardless, I've kind of stuck it out.
Yeah.
But have I negotiated to anything that I can't sleep at night?
I just wouldn't put myself in that situation. Yeah.
I've never done a transaction.
For me, it's reputation, right? It's long term.
Because the next
I'm not
person,
thinking about tomorrow. I don't give a shit about tomorrow. I'm thinking about 25 years from now. I want to have the best reputation in Greater Vancouver.
I think about would my father be proud of me right now? What would my mom say? There's been times when I've like literally been eating dog food and looked at a transaction going, I can make this happen, but I would be a shady motherfucker to do it. And I've chosen dog food and being able to sleep at night over being a greaseball. And there's a lot of things that there's a lot of reasons why I can't sleep at night. But
being honest to clients,
but my business, my transactions, and my honesty and my integrity are not those things that keep me up.
Can we start?
Is this the first time we finished at 2-6?
Holy shit! Did we not? Was that not being recorded?
It's recorded.
It's recorded.
Oh, that was glorious.
When are we starting?
No, we'll save it.
That was great.
Okay.
You should also save the part that we're talking about. Is it recorded or not? And put that in because that's fucking hilarious. Okay, there's one more thing I want to ask you, and then whatever you wrote down there doesn't look like real English to me, but you can ask me if you want.
It just says, "Give me some Denny shit."
I don't know what that means. So you can ask me whatever question you want, but I want to ask you one more question.
Okay.
You're like 30-ish, going back to Liam-ish, you're 30-ish days out from the 100 days. What is the craziest, coolest, most exciting thing you learned about yourself in those 100 days? Because I know there's some bad days. I follow your social media in depth, and I commented on lots of the posts throughout where you didn't want to go to the gym, it was like 8 o'clock at night and you hadn't been in the gym that day, but you had to go because you promised yourself you wanted to
if
do
I
it.
didn't have Instagram adventure keeping me accountable, I have nobody to keep me accountable for anything.
Isn't that a cool thing though? So that's one of the cool things with the podcast is like I get to just voice my goals and opinions and like aspirations. Kind of holds me accountable because it's out there now.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah.
When I was having
Put that thing close to your face.
When I was having those moments that you watched, that I had been in the parking lot of the gym for 20 minutes.
Really?
Fucking around on my phone. Just avoiding going in there because I didn't want to do it. Like I was in the moment and been like, okay, like this is like the fourth time I've checked Google News. And the fourth time I've checked out like fucking world headlines. And I'm still here and I haven't gone in the gym yet. Like there's a reason why I'm doing this. It's avoidance behavior. I don't want to do this. This is going to suck. So I flip my phone around and I'm like, all right, I'm going to record how much I don't want to fucking be here. And how much this sucks.
And those are the posts that I remember. That stick out.
That's what I'm trying to get at. Is like, why can't we post the bad?
Well,
it's
real.
Real.
Okay, well, I was going to be like, yeah, I remember that time I got married to that chick from Washington and, and she sent me a WhatsApp message and said it was over after I dropped, I don't know, 25 grand US on a fucking rock. Yeah, I didn't like put that shit out there because...
It's out there now.
Yeah. If you talk to me, shoot me a DM, shoot me a text message, and I'm happy to talk to you about some real shit. Do I need it to go out to the masses on what makes me happy and the positive shit I try and put out there? Somebody asked me a little while ago about Poco. Like, why would I make a fucking page for my dog? That's stupid. Stupid that you'd make a page for a dog. And I'm like, well, there's two reasons why I would like to do that. Number one is that there's something I can go back to and look at all the joy this little dog has brought to my life and how he's changed my life. But also, all of the stuff that I put out there of him, it gets a lot of reaction, man. He's a fun little dude, and he brings a lot of joy to a lot of people. And if I could find a way to bring more joy and more happiness to someone from just like clicking on an Insta page or a post and seeing something that like kind of makes their day for a second, that's cool. Like I'm all right with that.
But that's the thing I'm focusing on. So that's the reason that I'm exploring this idea of why can't we be more honest on social media? Because other people are going through the same shit. So if we can provide value to someone else who's going through the same stuff as us that maybe doesn't have the same resources as we do, because you and I, we're pretty fucking lucky. We have a pretty cool crew of people that surround us. We have a ton of network that we have to rely on, but a lot of people don't have that. So the way that I look at negatives is if I share my experience and what type of things go through my mind and how I get through these things, can that provide value to someone else who maybe doesn't have the same network as me? Yeah. Yes.
Just make sure it doesn't turn into a shit tornado. Because some of the stuff that fucking happens online is when you post one thing negative, you will literally...
It's not negative. It's ultra positive to me. Sharing a negative and how you get through it, that's ultra positive.
That's great. So just make sure you focus on that. Sometimes people's reality and life reality, it's not easy for them to put a happy spin on it. I know that in my own personal experience, for me to put a happy spin on some of the real hurt that I got, like there is no real way for me to do that. And if I put that out there, not only would a lot of my friends and family be very concerned about me, but the amount of comments and stuff that I would get on a negative post like that would just turn into a literal shit tornado. And that shit tornado would just affect more and more and more and more people. Again, I'm going to put this back to a Yelp review. When you have a crappy experience at a restaurant, it's more likely that you're going to fucking write a post. When you have like a positive experience at a restaurant, not that many people go, "Hey man, this was great. Thank you so much for my adequate nachos. I was not disappointed for the money that I paid for my adequate or reasonably priced whatever." That never happens.
Why though? Why are people so much more excited to post negative shit than positive shit? Why?
Because we focus on the bad, bro. We do.
But this is my personal opinion. I would never, ever, 0 times in my entire life, I can 100% guarantee that, I will never write a bad review, ever. 0 times.
Why?
If I have a negative experience
Why,
somewhere,
though?
restaurant, airport, literally anywhere,
Yeah.
I will just not go back there.
Okay.
I don't need to. Why do I want to waste my life to talk about someone else? Let's say it was a restaurant. Let's say the server.
Hold on.
No, I want to give my example.
Okay, go on.
Let's say it was a restaurant. Let's say the server was shitty.
Yeah.
Male, female, I don't care. Server sucked. They were angry. They were not very good. They weren't responsive. I had an empty beer for 15 minutes. Who knows what the fuck is going on in that person's head? Maybe their mom died yesterday. Maybe they're having a really shitty day. Maybe their girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, broke up with them that morning.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I the person that gets to put judgment on them?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm good enough to be able to do that. If I have a negative experience, may not go back there. Maybe 5 years before I go back there. But I don't think it's my job, or I don't think I have enough value in the world to be able to manipulate other people into not going there because someone else had a bad day.
Okay.
You can make your comment now.
Okay. So, there's a couple things I want to talk about with that.
Absolutely.
You place you place a little bit of personal value on your opinion, and I think that
but that's all I have to go off.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah.
I
sure.
don't know what's going on in your life.
I respect.
I have zero context in Carl's life.
Yeah.
I have zero context into that server's life.
I respect your.
All I understand is what my experience is.
Yeah, which is cool. I respect that. However, like whatever you're going through, if it is particularly rough or not an awesome or great experience, and you put that out there to the world, I think that there's also like a certain amount of social responsibility because of the power of social media, that you need to also be careful of how other people are going to react to it. Not everybody is in everyone's same situation. And you know what? Like, I'm pretty sure that like some angry white dude throwing some shit out there about some experiences that he's had that are negative, probably not all that great, but there's some other bullshit entitled white dude that feels also slighted about something, and it just compounds. And next thing you know, that guy's rolling into the fucking postal office with an AK or whatever. I feel, and this, Carol, dude, you might need to like reel this in a bit here, Carl, but I feel like everything that we put out has a butterfly effect. Negative, positive, whatever. And so, some of the negative shit that I've gone through, I will kind of keep it in and not put it out there on social media. And just because I'm internalizing it and working with my immediate people and friends on those painful things and not putting them out there, if I can just keep a little bit of that from a little bit of that evil going out, and there's a way that it's going to affect less people and not like just work like a fucking railgun and just like expedite, then that's a win too,
To me, that's mindset though. It's yes, everyone goes
Whose
through negative.
mindset though? And whose mindset do you have control over?
You
have control over your mindset.
Exactly.
You don't have control over the mindsets of others that see this.
100% agree. That's mostly my point.
Yeah, so like Hitler probably had like a pretty strong mindset when he like wrote Mein Kampf. However,
it was really fucked up though.
However,
Really...
later on, that kind of shit with like other people's mindsets. I don't have control over other people's mindsets, and the pain and some of the stuff that I've gone through, and I swear to God, man, like some of the shit that I wrote down about what I went through in the last 3 years, if I had put like pen to paper and posted that amongst other people's mindsets and how I was feeling at that time. And I'm not saying that you need to internalize everything and you need to not let people know how you feel. I'm just saying that, like, maybe not everyone is as strong as you are in that moment. And if you are putting something out there that might be negative or might be really real to you at that moment, and that other person sees that shit, and that other person is in a completely different mindset as you, and they act on it to harm themselves, to harm others, to do something else. Like, that is some of the shit we need to be in control of. So over the last 3 years, if you look at my Instagram, it's pretty rosy. All the shit that I was going through in my own personal life in the last 3 years, not super rosy. But, some of the stuff that I dealt with in my own life, I'm happy that I just got to deal with it in my own life. But if I put that out there into this tool, into this ether where everyone can take a snap of it, am I kind of bummed out that Instagram isn't real life? In a way, yeah. But am I kind of happy that Instagram isn't really real life? I think maybe more so.
I think I was slightly misinterpreted there. So I like to say, I think there's a lot of value in whatever you're going through, being able to share how you overcome it. So you talk about going through a bit of depression, but like, how are you where you are today? I think that's such a valuable tool to share with people, because a lot of people suffer from depression.
So share the end result.
A lot of people don't, not the end result, but the process that you went through to get from feeling really shitty to feeling kind of okay, and then to feeling a little bit better. Because I feel like you're a great example. I'm an outsider looking in. I've very little context into what you've gone through. Super lit. And I'm never going to make a judgment on that.
We'll do a third.
Okay.
Do a third.
I'm in.
The third podcast.
But what I'm saying is just, I think there's so much value in like articulating how you're feeling and what steps you went through to feel a little bit better, and then a little bit better after that.
Well, again, this
right?
is...
You don't need to say, I wake up in the morning and I want to kill myself, or I wake up in the morning and I feel like I can't go to work, I can't do these things. But like a few months later, you've worked through it and you've been like, okay, this helped me. I went for a run that day. That cleared my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 whatever. I'm now 3 years out from feeling like that.
Yeah.
And these are all the things that helped me get to this stage. And I'm still working on it. It's still a work in progress. I still want to get better. But these are the things that help me. And
you don't know that until you're out of it. When you're in the thick of it. And that's what's...
But the problem is that other people are going through the same things as you. So everyone wants to keep their own shit to themselves, and they think it's so bad for themselves. But if other people share what they're going through, they'll put things in perspective, which I love talking about perspective. They'll put things in perspective and understand, like, maybe my shit's not as bad. Maybe my shit isn't 100 out of 100. Maybe it's 95 out of 100.
I can only speak to myself.
Exactly. That's the exact thing, is you can only speak to yourself. You have zero context into what anyone else is going through.
All I can say though is that like when I was in pain,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking at when people are out of it. And I'm certainly not like when I'm in pain, I'm not writing about little wins, or I'm not writing about getting out of it. When you're in it,
Mm-hmm.
it's all consuming, you know. It's all consuming, and literally waking up in the morning, and for a second when you wake up and you're mad that you did wake up, like fuck, like that's a podcast into itself. When you wake up in the morning and like there's a tear that strolls down your face because you woke up in the first place, like that's you're not looking at anything else. And so that's to me, when it comes to the social media aspect of things, is there was plenty of times when I was looking on social media, and plenty of times when I was posting or not posting, and in some cases you know, just posting false shit, is because like the reality of it is not only going to affect me because it's out there, it's forever, but it's also going to affect like whoever is seeing it.
Let me ask you this. Do you think if you were in the darkest shit that you've ever gone through in your life,
Mm-hmm.
and one of your very close friends posted a video, some sort of context where they were in that situation and these were the small things that helped them get a little bit better, would you see a glimmer of hope in terms of like, that person felt a little bit of what I feel?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I can improve.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. So
that's what I'm getting at, is like,
yeah, but
sharing the experience is so valuable.
But here's the thing: is you're not sharing the experience. You're sharing the after the experience. You're sharing when you're out of it.
But you're being honest about what you felt in that moment.
Yeah, sure.
Only
and
you know.
any survivor will say that. Like, hey, so there was this one time that that things are really, really bad, and this one tiny thing happened, and it was great. But like, that's not posting in the moment. That's posting after. That's posting on the when you're through it. If you were to post on social media when you're in the middle of it, man, no, don't do it.
So
Don't.
Okay, let's take this outside of depression, because depression is a real problem
Mm-hmm.
that I have never gone through fully. So I don't understand, and I can't give any context into that. Let's pull it outside. Let's pull it into like entrepreneurship. Starting year one. Is posting about the entire journey valuable to someone down the road who looks at your feed and understands that, oh shit, they're eating Mr. Noodles and Kraft Dinner as well?
Yeah.
This is a real thing that happens that I just need to get through.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think that on the embarkation of any new venture, that's a part of it. Like,
so the journey is valuable.
Journey is valuable for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Again, I have zero context in depression other than just like
it's
seeing and witnessing friends
mental
go through
illness
it.
is something else.
It's different. 100% it's different.
Yeah. But I mean,
but
like,
at the same time,
like,
once you're pushing yourself through, how much value can you provide people that are actually going through it today?
Yeah, man.
By sharing the experience.
Yeah, there's all those shitty times when I first got going about like not having food or whatever, or making dog food for Poco, which we talked about, and eating the same thing that I was feeding my dog for a couple years, or having someone swing by just to see how I was doing. And she came over and just like opened my fridge and all my cupboards and saw that I had no food, and then took me grocery shopping. Yeah, those things happen, and those things are a part of entrepreneurship and a part of like just paying your dues, man. yeah, I don't think those times of being broke and those times of like really, really striving and working hard to get ahead are any different than anyone paying their dues in a union. Like you gotta feel a little pain to grow. Those are growing pains. And do I look back at those times on how to like creatively make a hot dog pretty awesome? Yeah, like that's some fun shit. And I could teach you a way to make a hot dog like pretty goddamn gourmet and pretty delicious. Also, I can teach you some fun things to do with like ramen noodles. Because I had to learn that shit. And that's fun stuff. That's fun business growing things. But like the dark side of the depression, and actual like not situational depression, but like mental illness depression are two totally different things. Yeah, it's gonna suck. There's lots of times that I went to the grocery store and had like a cart full of stuff, and then like put in my card, and they're like, yeah, no, this is not happening. Like no, this isn't happening. And like been like had a crowd of people behind me and going through items and seeing if I could pay for this or this. That's embarrassing and totally shitty and motivating to push you to try harder and to go ahead. But that is a totally different thing than like, and like I made comments on that too. Like I posted on Facebook because I don't think Instagram was really a thing at that time. But I'm like, well, this was cool. My first experience going through the fucking checkout and having the girl say, your card is declined. And there's like a ton of people behind me and I don't know how I'm going to feed me or my dog. And now that I know that my card was declined on, I don't know, $60 worth of food, what's going to happen to my fucking post-dated rental check? Because that's kind of screwed up too. And like, and that being like terrifying, but that's money stuff. That's money stuff, and it's gonna suck and it's gonna be shitty, but you can find your way past money stuff. And I would write and I would post on social media about some of those more embarrassing times, because that's just embarrassment, and that's just money. The funny thing about money is you can always get more, right? That's just money stuff. But like the mental illness stuff and like that stuff, you can't get around, and you can't post funny shit about that because there's nothing funny at all about it, and that's and not situational depression. Like I said, you can be. I was pretty depressed about my card being declined. Like that sucked. But that's not the same as some of the other stuff, right? So, yeah.
I've never been through it, so I have zero context into this world. But is there any like small piece of advice that you can give to people that are going through it currently?
Which part?
Like real depression.
No. Seek a professional immediately. Don't try and do it on your own. Don't try and do it on your own.
That's a good piece of advice. Don't do it on your own.
No, don't.
Yeah.
Don't. Understand that it's totally normal. You're not alone.
I think that's what's important though. And so that was my only point in terms of like sharing a story, whether it's during, after, whatever, sharing the story so that people understand that they're not by themselves in this world.
Yeah, man, if you have some dark thoughts, think of those dark thoughts as like if you found a lump on your body. And this might be the only thing in this entire podcast worth really putting out there. If you wake up in the morning and you're pissed off that you woke up, this might be something to talk to somebody about. And think of it as like if you woke up and felt like a weird lump, you think you'd talk to a doctor about it? Probably would. That's weird. So you woke up and you're like, well, this sucks. That's probably something to talk to somebody about. You know, like not all of life is going to be awesome or rosy, but if you think that the world is probably a better place without you in it, or your family or your friends are better off without you around, or you are better off slipping into absolute oblivion of darkness, that's probably like good fodder to speak to a professional. Because like I don't think that's any different than feeling pain in a weird place and talking to somebody, or like if you have a chronic disease of any kind. Like this is mental illness, and mental illness is real. You know, I mean, you can't just like fucking shrug off your PTSD. You can't just like shrug off like some of your experiences that have like affected and changed the way that your brain works. Like you need to talk to somebody. Period. And if you're an entrepreneur, doubly so. Without a doubt, because that's shit will really hit the fan when you're an entrepreneur and dealing with everything on your own anyway. If that makes any sense, and that would be the one thing that I would really stress from today's podcast.
I like it.
We didn't talk
I think
about
that's a pretty good way to end.
Yeah?
I don't know. I feel like you wrote something down that you wanted to talk to me about. So
I wrote
feel free to
down.
Say it now. Otherwise, we're wrapping up and we're getting out of here.
Give me some Denny shit.
What does that mean?
I mean, tell me something that's awesome that you've done in the last 6 months, which I've seen a ton of shit that you've done in the last 6 months.
Awesome in the last 6 months?
Tell me about Coachella, bro.
I didn't go to Coachella. I went to Stagecoach.
Oh, Stagecoach.
And it's much better.
Okay. So, well, tell me about Stagecoach.
Stagecoach is the country music version.
What? You went to a country music festival in Palm Springs?
I only like country. Well, I like other music too, but I like country music a lot.
Well, we're learning an awful lot about Denny Dumas right now.
Everyone knows I like country music.
Really?
Yeah. I had a country music guy, Joe Dramation, on here recently. He's legit.
Was he as cool as me? Because apparently not.
Got more Instagram followers.
Well, we just talked about how Instagram is not a very, very viable way for you to
I
view.
definitely do not judge people based on their Instagram followers, just for the record.
Well, that's fantastic because your client's dog just destroyed me like 8 or 9
I
fold.
know, Allie's crushing it right now.
Yeah, 60,000 for her dog. And her dog is pretty awesome. As awesome as Poco.
Awesome. Maybe more photogenic than Poco.
Poco's a chubby dude, and he's not super photogenic.
Okay, we're going to end on this.
Oh, God.
What does Poco do when it's raining outside? Go.
What does Poco do when it's raining outside?
Yes.
Fucking fight me on putting a harness on and like going outside to go poop? This dog lived in the streets of Mexico and is afraid of walking through wet grass. He doesn't like anything damp on his paws, man. I have to fight him, physically pick him up or bribe him with food to stand up enough to put a harness on him to drag him outside. What time is it right now? Like 8:30?
Something like that.
9 o'clock.
So
9 o'clock. Poco has taken 2 peas outside today, and I dragged him outside and forced him to go poop. So he has consumed my day because I like go home, stops raining for like a little bit. So leave the office, take him home, like go back, get him outside. It's a nightmare. Fuck this guy.
If you don't follow Liam Rines, his Instagram is Serious Liam.
You cannot post this in this
Serious Liam?
fucking thing. Serious Lemur. Yeah.
Serious Lemur. Serious Liam R. His dog videos are fucking hilarious because Poco will literally not go outside in the rain. If it's raining outside, they'll go into the hallway of their condo and he'll sit in the hallway, and Liam is at the elevator being like, Poco, let's fucking go.
Oh,
You have to go pee. This is ridiculous. And
He's a dick.
He's just lying in the hallway. But he's smart as fuck. He knows it's raining out there. He doesn't want to go out there.
Oh yeah, no, he can hear it, and he's
He just hears the rain. He's like, no,
he's sharp.
not happening.
He's
Will he just
he's
hold
sharp.
it all day?
Yeah, he would. He's a gentleman. He's like the only time I've ever. That's why he has so many bow ties. The only time I've ever seen him make a mess in the house is when he's been like sick. And you know, you can't blame him for that. But there's certainly been times when we're in the middle of monsoon season here in Vancouver, and that fucking kid is like held it for a day and a half. And I'm not even mad. I'm just like, you're a champion.
That's the Will Ferrell quote from Anchorman. I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
I say that to Poco often, man. Like, cause he does a ton of weird shit. I will eventually create his own Insta page.
What's it going to be called?
I don't know. I am
The Legend of Poco.
I am Poco Loco.
Poco Loco is a good one.
No,
Poco
that's-
Loco.
Dude, do you know how that was his name?
I did not know.
I
that
didn't
was
name
the
him Poco. Our office is in Poco. I have close ties to Poco. I live in Poco. Poco meaning Port Coquitlam. I did not name Poco. He was named by the people in Mexico that were like introducing me to him as Poco Loco, which means little crazy. And so like I walk him around Port Coquitlam and they're like, oh, your dog is really nice. What's his name? I'm like, Poco. They're like, amazing. And I'm like, no, man, I did not name this fucking kid. Like, his name was Poco Loco and I didn't give it to him. So, anyway.
Amazing.
Oh, God.
Okay, let's wrap.
Fuck,
That's
dude.
it. Liam, I love you, man. Thank you so much for coming on again. It's always good to catch up, man.
Can we do this again, though?
I feel like we
I don't, like,
have
I think
unlimited
I think that you
information to
have
talk
a
about.
fucking job ahead of you for editing the shit out of this.
0 edits. Carl's going to edit my
You won.
sneezing,
There's going to be a lot.
my coughing, and the time that I went to the bathroom.
Yeah. Can you edit the time when I, like, just whipped it out and started jerking off the table? Or
No,
can
that
you-
stays.
That staying? Oh, damn it.
All right, this is getting vulgar.
Thought I was a circle jerk.
Guys, I
Turns
love
out-
you. If you want to tune in to Poco Loco, check him out on Instagram. Soon to be there. Leave us a review. This is a good
No,
one.
do not.
This was a really good
no
one.
review. No.
Review us on this
No.
episode specifically. Zero to Hero podcast
Oh,
with Liam
you can just, like,
Rines.
Throw it out for like a mulligan. I'll take a mulligan. I'll take a mulligan on this. That'd be all right.
All right. Good night, guys. Thank you.
Oh, God.